106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Well, we're going to follow Joliet, Jake, and Elwood Blues to Chicagoland next Friday night. Our coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series from that very fast mile-and-a-half track, where they've installed lights and have night racing for the first time. ESPN next week, 7:30 Eastern Time. Quick catch-up on some of the news of the week. Today, Mark Martin formally confirmed as driver of the Hendrick Motorsports 5-car in Sprint Cup competition next year. Talked about that with Dale Jr. a minute ago. Mark's going to run all the races next year, take a shot at that championship, and then bring in a younger driver to share the car with him the year after. The Dale Earnhardt Incorporated 8-car that Martin shares this year with Eric Almirola is all Almirola's full-time next year. Congrats to him. Chip Ganassi racing with Felix Sabates shut down the Dario Franchitti Cup ride. Lack of sponsorship. They also laid off some 70 workers this week. Dario's been offered a shot to finish the season in their Nationwide Series car. No decision there. And on the Nationwide Series side, Chad Walter, crew chief for Junior Motorsports, Hendrick Motorsports in the 5-car, fined $10,000. The team and driver docked some points for improper language during an interview during our telecast at New Hampshire last Saturday. Any reaction to these stories? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. When you hear Mark Martin talk of Rick Hendrick, there's a twinkle in his eye. How great would it be for Mark Martin to get in that race car next year and win the championship at the end of his career and walk away? That'd be outstanding. And also Eric Almirola. This is a great opportunity for this young man who came up through the diversity program, is a super young racer, to launch his career, have full-time opportunity.
And I hate that Dario didn't get a chance to finish the season. I think he was going to find a place here. And Chad, remember, next time, 10,000 and soap in your mouth.
All right, we're closing in on the green flag for tonight's NASCAR Nationwide Series race here at Daytona. When we continue, Jason Leffler, one of those going to be in the field tonight, driving one of those powerful Toyotas. There's Scott Wimmer in the Childress 29. He starts 13th. And how about Morgan Shepherd, qualified 14th for tonight's race here in Daytona Beach. Hey, bring back that sign. Come here. Hey, hey. Fourth of July afternoon in the infield at the Speedway. Just some of the sights from Daytona International Speedway today. So in the Nationwide Series season so far, Tony Stewart scored the first 2 wins of the year, 2 of 5 he's had this year. Kyle Busch has 4 wins and maybe could have had a couple of more if not for some misfortune. Seen a couple of first-time winners, Brad Keselowski in Nashville at race 15, and a week later, 18-year-old Joey Logano at Kentucky in just his 3rd series start. Logano's win plus Stewart's, Kyle's, and Denny Hamlin's add up to 11 for Joe Gibbs Racing. And the championship leader at the midway point of the campaign, Clint Boyer, who does not drive for Joe Gibbs, but for Richard Childress. So who'll be the next headline maker of the season? Let's talk with a few drivers who'd like to be, starting with Jamie Little.
Well, Mike Bliss would surely like to take home a victory. And, you know, we were talking earlier about the practice sessions, and these guys only got 1 practice session. It was extremely hot. You even told me that it was so slick you almost wrecked right here in the tri-oval. Now that it's cooled down, Mike, how much different will it be tonight?
It's going to be a lot cooler inside the cars, I know that, and the fans are going to like it too. Yeah, it just was really slick. All of us were sliding around, and, you know, we were all probably whining pretty hard, but we changed a lot on this Mikasuka Chevrolet and went back to some old notes. And I think it's going to be really good. It's not going to be like the spring race or the early race in February, just because the track's a little less grip in it. But it's going to still be a pretty dang good race.
All right, talk us through this. What are we going to see tonight? What are we in store for? This drafting thing, Junior's just right down there.
And Morgan Shepherd is right in front of me. That's good for him. You know, you're going to see 3 wide for about 10 laps. And then it's going to start to go 2 wide. And then guys are going to be sliding around a little bit. And it'll single file out. It's just the way it is. We can't run side by side very long, 3 wide. It's just not enough grip out there. So, but I still make a great race.
All right, well, Mike Bliss rolls off 16th. I have a feeling he's not going to stay there too long. Dave?
And Jamie, Casey Kane qualified in just behind Bliss. Will actually start right behind him. So how did your car play with others in the 1 practice you had yesterday?
Seemed pretty good. We had probably 3 different sessions where I was on the track with about 6 to 10 cars, and we could run right with them. So we worked on this car, try to get it to turn good. I think that's going to be the key tonight, is to turn good and be able to run the white line if that's where the good cars are, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully it'll be fast all night.
You're still looking for your first win at this place. Good enough to do it tonight, you think, if you get in the right position?
We'll see. I mean, we got tonight and we have a shot tomorrow night too, so You know, both cars are decent, and you know, hopefully the Klondike Dodge Charger will be good tonight. But I'd love to win at Daytona. It's such a neat place, such a neat track, that to win here would be pretty awesome.
All right, he's got 2 chances this weekend, Alan, and it starts in moments.
You know, all that talk about the Cup drivers in the nationwide races, what do these guys do when they're not in the race? Well, sometimes they watch the race. Well, most times they watch the race, but sometimes they try and get involved in televising the race. That's Juan Pablo Montoya on the roof. That's our cameraman, Michael Dranos, behind him. Drano, get your camera back, please. We need you. It's the 4th of July in Daytona. Every driver wants to win in Daytona.
Growing up, Daytona was this almost a mythical place that, I mean, I didn't know where it was. I just knew it was this sunny place with palm trees and race cars. It seems like everything you do here at Daytona, someone's done before you. There have been so many champions here, so many historic moments. To be able to race here is an honor, I think.
So much history here at Daytona, and now we approach this green flag with a field of 43 ready to go in search of their piece of that history, perhaps creating their own most memorable 4th of July celebration, one that happens in Daytona's Victory Lane after 250 miles. Kerry Earnhardt in the field tonight in the DEI 8. Dave Burns is with him.
You know, and it's a pretty exciting night. Hasn't been a nationwide car in some time, and Kerry, you get to do it tonight for DEI, and believe me, the cacophony down here of activity around you has been pretty fantastic. How about this race car tonight? Is it good?
It's a really good car. You know, this is the same car that Martin Truex ran here in February and was competing for the win and got tangled up and messed up. But you know, I just can't say enough for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated to give me the opportunity to run this thing. And I'm gonna bring a buddy of mine, old Johnny Morris, Bass Pro Shops, and come aboard and give us the opportunity here. And I just want to thank him, and it's an honor to be able to fly his colors again.
Hey, buddy, we're just happy to be along for the ride, man. It's going to be a great night.
Thank you. You love this sport, and you love being a part of it with DEI, don't you?
Yeah. It's pretty special for a lot of people in our company and our customers. A lot of people love to hunt and fish, and fans of the Earnhardts, and we had a lot of great times. Going to have some more, but tonight's very special for us and a very proud night for everybody at Bass Pro to be riding along here with Kerry. Real proud.
Kerry, did your car give you the idea that you could finish up front tonight?
Well, we didn't get to draft any. The second practice got rained out, and we was trying to do some drafting then. But, you know, I'm comfortable with this car. These guys at Dale Earnhardt Incorporated put together a good piece, and I don't think we have any problems with it.
All right, thanks, Kerry. Good luck. Alan?
All right, Ray, Brad, something to watch for tonight.
I think look for somebody to hit the setup that gets going. Maybe Kerry, maybe a guy like Jason Leffler. We haven't talked about him.
I think the thing to watch are the young guys. A lot of the young guys I talked to didn't even remember being here in February, and a lot of them today were talking about how rough the racetrack is, so it's almost like they didn't even realize it. So I think you're going to see some young guys very aggressive, going to cause problems early.
We will keep an eye on it as the night unfolds. The singing of the Star-Spangled Banner, a tradition at all sporting events in the United States, and as we get ready for that tonight, we take this moment to say hello to and salute all the men and women serving in our armed forces around the world. Thank you for protecting these freedoms we all so enjoy on this 4th of July. So great weather, a great race we're expecting, good crowd filing in. And now on this Independence Day, as we celebrate America's birthday, we celebrate it with the All-American sport of stock car racing and go trackside for tonight's opening ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Patrick Air Force Base Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Pastor Bob Hadley of Westside Baptist Church offers tonight's invocation.
Father, we want to pause to say thank you for loving us as you do. God, we thank you for this event. We pray for these drivers and the pit crew. Keep them safe. God, help them to do their best. Father, be with our president, our national leaders. God bless America once again. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
And now, race fans, please welcome straightaway to stardom contest winner from DeLand, Florida, Kimberly Dunn, as she performs our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the
A great moment on this 4th of July as NASCAR's traditional holiday celebration of speed gets underway at Daytona, USA. The green flag for tonight's race is coming up next. ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series comes to you tonight from Daytona Beach, Florida. It's 250 miles under the lights at the famed Daytona International Speedway. As you would expect in Florida in July, it's warm and a good bit muggy tonight. Always a threat of a shower or a thunderstorm this time of year down here, but we hope the rain stays away tonight. Not looking too bad right now. And as we close in on the command to start engines, let's go upstairs to the doc, the driver, and the crew chief. We say hello to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you very much, Alan. And folks, take a look at some of the notable winners here at Daytona over the years in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. The list reads like a who's who in stock car racing, and those highlighted are drivers in tonight's race. Hello, everyone. Along with Dale Jarrett, Andy Petrie, I'm Jerry Punch. Happy 4th of July to you and yours, and thanks for joining us. You know, folks, this holiday is about friends, family, and fireworks. We hope you've enjoyed the day with your friends and family, because tonight we will have fireworks here for you, because it's going to be a great one. Guys, what is it about this July race? The sun goes down, the lights come on. Why does it get so wild?
Well, anytime you put a restrictor plate on race cars, it's exciting anywhere you go. But you turn the lights on here at Daytona, it just seems crazier. And I'm looking forward to a really good race, and these guys are going to be all over each other when the tires are cold and the cars are handling good. And then when the tires get hot and they start slipping and sliding, that's when it's going to get really exciting.
Yeah, it really is. And just as you said, Andy, these restrictor plates are the equalizer. They put everybody in a big pack, so you don't know who's going to win. Everybody in this race thinks they have a chance to win, so they've been here all day long getting prepared. They've only run 2 laps of qualifying. That's why they're so jacked up when it's time to go racing, and we're the ones that benefit from that.
To win this race tonight, you've got to survive, which means you've somehow got to dodge the big one, the big multi-car crash we always see at Daytona and Talladega. Guys, how do you avoid this one?
Well, it's really luck in most cases. You see these guys right here, no place to go.
Yeah, close your eyes and pray quickly. That's about the only thing. You just hope that you're in the right spot.
This year at Daytona and Talladega, that's the one at Talladega. Folks, combine the big ones at these 2 racetracks. How about 25 cars involved? That's how quickly it can get ugly here at Daytona and Talladega in a hurry. 10 cars involved with a few laps to go here back in February. 15 laps to go. 15 cars involved in Talladega. 25 total. And guys, when that happens, I guess there's nowhere to go.
No, you know, you usually have about 1 chance to make a move, and hopefully somebody doesn't hit you. You take that chance, try to get through that wreck, and then you feel like that it might be your day to go on and win this race.
And the spotters are going to be busy up there keeping their guy out of trouble.
Drivers are buckled up. They know what is at hand. 250 miles, 100 laps here on the 4th of July at the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. Window nets are up, so let's go trackside to get to command to fire them up.
Race fans, here to deliver those most famous words in motorsports on this spectacular 4th of July holiday, please welcome back Winn-Dixie Senior Vice President and General Counsel, Mr. Larry Appel.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Fired up. All right, bud, fired up. All right, man, fired up. Yeah, thank you. All right, engines fired. Gauges all look good.
Engines have fired and 43 of NASCAR's finest are set to turn it loose. When we come back, our in-race report of the driver of the Geico Toyota, former Daytona winner, Mike Wallace, will be our guest. We'll ask him our question and your question here in just a moment. Our coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Daytona is being brought to you by Aaron's. With over 1,500 stores nationwide, everyone's a lucky dog at Aaron's. And by Valvoline's Max Life. Drive it forever. Take a look at our starting grid across the top of your screen. For the 5th time this year, we have a first-time pole sitter in the series tonight. It's 19-year-old Brian Clausen, making only his 18th career start. Now, while you watch to see where your favorite driver is starting, let's visit with our in-race report of the driver of the Geico Toyota, Mike Wallace, who will start back in 15th spot tonight.
Mike Wallace, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You have a copy?
Dale, go ahead. I got you.
Hey, Mike, you have an outstanding record here in running at these restrictor plate tracks. What's your secret? What makes you so good?
I learned a lot watching Dale Jarrett race and racing against him, first of all, but just really like racing here, Dale. Understand the draft. Got some great opportunities. Work with great people like, you know, Andy Petrie is a car owner, and, you know, the people I've drove for. Just really enjoy it a lot.
All right, Mike, our second question is our mailbag question, and it comes from Jessica in South Bend, Indiana. What is the difference in the track from the February race to tonight's race?
Well, I think what we've always noticed is the racetrack is just, you know, Daytona is a handling racetrack. You got to handle all night long here, and it's a little slicker, a little hotter. Our car, we built in more downforce tonight for it, so it needs to handle better, and but it's a lot of fun. You know, it's a pretty narrow racetrack, as you well know, but we're in pretty good shape, we think.
Hey, Mike, thanks for your answers. Good luck tonight, and we'll talk to you later on.
Okay, Dale, thank you very much. I'd just like to say, take a moment to the Germain family. We lost Bob Sr. this week, and they're all at home watching.
Okay, indeed, we pass our condolences along to the Germain family as well, Mike. And Mike's crew chief is Bruce Cook. Let's visit with Bruce.
Hey, Bruce, Andy Petrie up here in the booth. You got us?
Sure, Andy, I got you.
Hey, Bruce, what kind of decisions do you have to make on top of that pit box tonight to put this 7-car in contention at the end?
A lot of decisions that go into it. There are a lot of speedway races you want to play a 2-tire strategy game, but I don't think that's going to work tonight. I think you're going to be a big gambling man if you're going to do that. Fuel mileage and basically some help out there. You're going to have to come in when people that you're racing with are going to come here. So we want to try and stay with the people that are fast and make that decision to come with them when they're going to come.
Sounds good, Bruce. You guys have good luck out there tonight.
Thank you, Andy.
Other high-definition onboard cameras tonight. Mike Bliss starts 16th in the Miccosukee Resort Chevrolet. Dale Earnhardt Jr. 5th in the Nationwide Delphi Chevy. Mike Wallace, you've already heard from him. Colin Brown starts 3rd in the City Financial Ford. Kenny Wallace, 40th, the U.S. Border Patrol Chevy. Scott Wimmer starts 13th in the Holiday Inn Chevrolet. Stephen Wallace, 28th in the Jimmy John's Chevrolet. And how appropriate here on the 4th of July at the Colors of the U.S. Navy would be with Brad Keselowski starting on the outside front row. We'll have a camera with him. And another one of our high-definition cameras carrying the ESPN over-the-wall camera, 14-year veteran tire changer Mark Hollywood Armstrong in the Kerry Earnhardt pit. And Mark, what are you going to show us here tonight?
Well, Doc, thank you very much, and everyone, and welcome to the race tonight. Some of the important tools tonight: spring rubbers, track bar. Let's stay hydrated. All our lug nuts are on. we got our gas ready, but the most important tool that we're going to need tonight is everyone on this race team right here. All these guys right here, we got to come together as a team, have great pit stops, and everybody have a good time tonight.
Mark, thank you so much. We'll be watching. And now, we talk so much about the high speeds on the high banks here at Daytona, but it's right there in the trenches on pit road where the race can be won or lost here tonight. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway here at the World Center of Racing, and aerial coverage tonight being provided by our good friends at Goodyear. For track-tested technology, get there on Goodyear Innovation. And flying the Goodyear blimp, there's Captain Marty Chandler. And Marty showing the patriotic spirit. They're waving the red, white, and blue. Good to have Marty high above us here at Daytona, giving us these great shots here all night long. Well, let's get some final stories from the pits. First of all, here's Shannon Spade.
Well, Doc, we got to talk about Brian Clausen. Back in February, he finished 6th here, surprised everybody. Picked up right where he left off here today, earned his first pole in qualifying. I spoke to Brian Clausen. He told me he's got to remember 2 things in this race. Number 1, try not to make a move too fast. And number 2, most important here at Daytona, be patient. Mike Massaro?
Well, Shannon, to compete here in Daytona, it's all about teamwork. And it took teamwork just for the 59 car of Marcus Ambrose to get to Daytona. That's because they experienced a transporter fire on the way back from New Hampshire. It cost them a day and a half transporting equipment. And in order to get that car here, they had to load it on their teammate's hauler, the hauler of Kelly Byers. Otherwise, they wouldn't have got here. This team faces insurmountable odds tonight, starting 34th. But with teammate work like that, they might just have a chance. Doc?
Cars lined up 2 by 2. Glad to have you with us for what has become a 4th of July weekend tradition here in Daytona Beach, Florida. Only in America can you celebrate your freedom with some fast cars and fireworks NASCAR style. Glad to have you with us. Ladies and gentlemen, here they come to the green flag at Daytona on a Friday night, July 4th. Sideline, the draft trying to work early on here, and the youngster Colin Brown is caught in the middle.
Here comes Junior down on the bottom. He's flirting with that yellow line, just putting the left side right on the line.
Yeah, he got a good run off the second corner there, and now he's got a good run going for the lead already. That car is really strong. We had to know when he qualified that well that he was going to be up front. He kind of had to back out there. I think he didn't. He could have probably pushed the issue, but that could have also created a bad situation here early, and he knows you can't win this race on the first lap.
And this is the most risky part of the race when all these cars are 2 and 3 wide all the way back through the field. Dave?
And guys, there's a reason that Junior can stick his nose in there going into turn 3. Crew chief Brad Parrott told Brian Clausen before the race started, we need to have you up a lane to get the momentum going in that race car, or we'll go straight to the back. That's why that was open going into turn 3.
Brad Coleman led the first lap by. Here is Clint Boyer, our points leader, now going to the point of the field in front of Coleman. Here comes Earnhardt Jr. downstairs. He will give Boyer a bit of a push in the draft.
You got to use that rear view mirror quite a bit. And that's what Clint Boyer was doing right there, wasn't it, Dale?
Yeah, you do. You're looking. You're not necessarily blocking. You're trying to get more air from that car coming behind you. Get that push. You've got to use air every way you possibly can. It's not just to push someone. Sometimes you want to get that push. And that's exactly what he's gotten from Dale Jr. to get the lead.
It looks like it worked really good for Clint Boyer. He gets that lead, and these 2 cars kind of get a little breakaway. I'm sure it's not going to last long, though.
Yeah, they'd love to think that this was going to be the way it would be for a while, but it's not going to be like that at all. Everybody here is going to be fighting these cars. Right now, it's the best these cars are going to be for a little while, so they get tires back on them.
The prediction was 3 wide for the first 10 laps, then 2 wide, then all bets are off.
It's like Colin Brown's going backwards just a little bit here in the draft.
There's the 20 car, Denny Hamlin. That's the car from the team that Tony Stewart won with here back in February.
Well, it looks like somebody had to check up in that upper lane.
Yeah, we're already seeing guys have to get out of the gas right now because they can't get the front end of their car to stick, or they're a little bit loose. So that's adjustments they're going to have to work on as they get through the night.
And that's got to catch these guys off guard, because you're used to running flat out on the throttle all the way around the racetrack here, especially when the tires are good. You're not expecting somebody to jump out of the throttle right there this early.
No, you really have to pay attention at this point in time, and this is where a spotter can be very helpful, looking in front of you to see if somebody is going to let you know that they are checking up a little bit. But you have to really be ready to react extremely quick right here as these cars are racing side by side and nose to tail.
Front of the field, it is Boyer, Earnhardt, Harvick, Edwards, and Clausen. But folks, don't look now. Casey Kane is 6th, and Kyle Busch has come all the way from back in the pack. He has gained 11 positions in 3 laps in the 18 car, making his way toward the front.
No surprise here, but that car is really dancing around, and Kyle Busch up on the wheel. I mean, Casey Kane looks like they're just really tight. You see the hand out the window for Brian Clausen. He's trying to get these guys to line up with him. Don't you think that's what he's trying to do?
That's probably what he's trying to do, but I'm not sure that. I think they know who's in that car. I mean, he has one good run here, but I'm not sure that warrants what, telling everybody to stay in line behind you. I know that's what they would like to do. His car's probably a little bit loose at this point in time. The track still is extremely hot, and these guys, as you can see, are moving around a lot, and they're fighting these cars.
They're right on the bottom of the racetrack we see right now, but I really predict that they'll start moving up all the way against the wall as these tires wear.
Yeah, and I would look for Dale Jr. maybe to be one of those first ones. I think he wants this to get spread out just a little bit before he starts doing anything like that. But yeah, Andy, I agree. They're going to be up against the wall carrying that momentum, especially those guys that have the higher gear ratios in them.
And that's the option. You either have the option of backing off the throttle a little bit and stay on the bottom, or try to hold it wide open and just go where the car goes. You have to let it go up to the wall.
Yeah, right now I think they want to stay down there and stay in that line as much as they can. As long as you have a car behind you, you know you're not going to get far away. You can ease out of the throttle and make all of this work again to get spread out just a little bit.
We see Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s throttle position right here still flat on the floor, and his car looks like it's handling pretty good right now, Jamie.
Yes, he certainly is. That was the plan all along. He wanted to hook up with his driver, Brad Keselowski, and move to the front. That, of course, is always the plan for Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now, settling in there. Pretty fast race car, he told us.
3 Chevrolets up front. Clint Boyer has never won here at Daytona. Of course, Dale Earnhardt Jr., a 5-time winner. Behind him, the 33 car. That is the Kevin Harvick in his own car. He won here when he swept both the Nationwide and the Sprint Cup race here in February of 2007.
We've got 4 Sprint Cup guys there in the front, and then Brian Clausen, who was our pole sitter, he could have gotten shuffled really far to the back there a while ago as he was kind of shuffled out of the draft, had to check up a little bit, but he's done a great job of keeping his nose right there on Carl Edwards' bumper. Dave, you got more?
Yeah, DJ, and that thing you guys said about staying in line for Clausen, he radioed that to his crew, so both his spotter would know about that, Lauren Ranier, as well as the guys around him. Actually, they can't hear him, but he wanted his crew chief to know what he was doing. I'm going to stay in line right here. That's his plan, and Brad Parrott agrees with that. They're running very well right now hugging that bottom line.
19-year-old Brian Clausen, you can't buy that experience. He's right behind the reigning series champion Carl Edwards, right in front of Casey Kane. Learning a lot here right now in the early laps at Daytona. More on Clint Boyer. Let's go down to Shannon.
Yeah, Doc, the condition right now for Clint Boyer in that number 2 car as Dale Jr. looks to the outside is the car is good. His spotter said, do not, as Dale Jr. takes the lead from Clint Boyer, and Clint Boyer is getting shuffled back as those cars go by on the outside. His spotter told him not to give up the bottom in 3, so you see Clint Boyer trying to stick to the bottom, but saying, yes, his car is good right now.
Shannon, the prediction was it would be lap 10 before Dale Earnhardt Jr. would go to the top of the track. It was lap 8. He went to the top and made the pass.
Clint Boyer didn't give up the bottom, but he was back down there by himself. Dale Earnhardt Jr. just took the high side, took the whole group with him.
This is the car Dale Earnhardt Jr. is driving that won this race a year ago. It led 65 laps with Kyle Busch aboard, and Earnhardt Jr. knew he had a good car when they came in this weekend, and right now at lap number 9, he becomes the 2nd leader at Daytona here in July in NASCAR Nationwide Series action. More from Daytona in a moment. Welcome back to Daytona, the remainder of our weekend motorsports calendar. NASCAR now on ESPN2 tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern time. And, of course, on Sunday on ABC, Camping World IndyCar Grand Prix coverage from historic Watkins Glen, New York. Got a great one going on here in the early laps at Daytona. It is Dale Earnhardt Jr. showing the way. Carl Edwards, Clint Boyer, Kyle Busch now has come from 20th all the way to 4th position. Kevin Harvick is back in 5th.
Is this the point of the race, Dale? You're trying to figure out which lane and which part of the racetrack your car likes to run in?
Yeah, it can be a little frustrating because you see one lane going and you feel like your car's okay there, and then all of a sudden things kind of jam up and you're not as good there. The guys come back on the other side of you. So yeah, you're trying to see exactly what your car can do. This is a really good time just to really be patient. You want to make up some time, but you also want to move forward as much as you can. And we see a guy that's moving forward is in that 18 car, Kyle Busch, we knew he was going to. Mike, you've got more on Kyle Busch?
Yeah, DJ, when you think back to February, you remember the Joe Gibbs Racing cars finishing 1 and 2, of course, Tony Stewart winning. Well, we spoke with crew chief Jason Ratcliffe on the 18 car this weekend, and he said, well, that car back in February was supposed to be identical to the 20, but it was real difficult to really duplicate the body. So they went back to the shop since Daytona in February, cut off the body, and really tried to improve how well this car could suck up. They didn't feel like it sucked up nearly as well as the 20 car, but they feel like they made significant gains coming in here in July, and we can see that on the racetrack right now as Kyle's closing in on the lead.
As you watch Kyle draft up through the field quickly, I know he's got a quick race car, but what makes one driver, whoa, trouble, the 22 car. Josh Wise sideways spinning down the back straightaway, 175 miles an hour, and somehow controls it.
Didn't hit anything.
That will bring out the yellow for the first time tonight.
Did you push up to get in front of me, brother? Oh, the front end just took off, man. Tell him I'm sorry. I mean, I was off the gas and it just kept going straight.
Well, you don't see that very often. Car take off in the middle of the pack and not cause a big crash. Great job by Rudeman here not to cause any more trouble and spin out himself, really.
Yeah. Looked like Josh Wise's car just pushed up off of turn 2. David Rudeman had a run, and Josh had to get out of the gas real quick. And sometimes you have to do that. You're so close right there, you're just not sure if you've got enough room to make that corner. And when you have to come out of the throttle, the guy behind you is running wide open. And it just takes a little bit for you to have that closing speed and just a touch. So yeah, it's great that nothing more happened from there. His worst thing will be trying to get back around here if the tire's flat and he doesn't want to blow a tire out and mess up the fenders.
DJ, as relatively inexperienced as he is, talking about Josh Wise, only 7 starts this year. How much of that was driver? How much of that, you said in the spin and no contact, was what he was doing inside the car?
Well, you fight it while you can, but they'll tell you, just lock it down and put the brakes on, turn the wheel to the left, and good chance there's a lot more room back there now than what there used to be. You have some asphalt back there that kind of helps slow the car down. So yeah, he did a terrific job. He got the wheels back straight. He knew what he was doing. And now, again, the most important thing is he makes it back around him. But he's done a good job so far if he just slows down.
He's going to be real lucky to get this car back without tearing it up. We see the tires starting to come apart. This car doesn't have a scratch on it from the crash. But if he gets that thing back without blowing these tires and tearing it up, I'll be surprised.
Josh, a former sprint car champion, USAC sprint car champion, midget title champion, driving for Tony Stewart, also drove a Silver Crown car for A.J. Foyt prior to going to work for Michael Waltrip Racing. He's their test driver, driving a Dodge tonight for Armando Fitz. First caution flag tonight, coming out on lap 13. We'll see if Dale Earnhardt Jr., Carl Edwards and company are going to commit. There's a commitment cone up there. Will they commit to come on the pit road? And indeed they will, as we head down to our Castrol GTX triple pits, starting with Mike Massaro.
Kyle Busch bringing the field down pit road. Car just a little bit free. They're going to drop the track bar a little bit, make an air pressure adjustment to the front tires, and also some Sunoco race fuel as we go to Dave.
Brian Clausen is a little too close to the wall, Mike. They're going to make a 4-tire change. I don't know what they're going to do now because the Jackman is going to have a tough time getting that car up as they try to make no changes except tires. They go with 2 instead. Shannon.
Well, Carl Edwards is going to go for 4 tires. He says they're starting to fall off a little bit. The car's a little tight. Jamie.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. opted for fuel, only 1 round down on that track bar to tighten him up just a bit to let it handle a little bit better, and that was it. No tires for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Race off of pit road here. Brad Keselowski gains 7 spots. Mike Bliss up 11. We'll break down who changed what when we come back to Daytona in just a moment. Welcome back to Daytona. Under caution for the first time tonight. Pit stops have been the order of the day. Let's show you the problems on pit road for the 40 car. 19-year-old Brian Clausen having an issue here a moment ago.
You see these guys coming in to make the stop, and he slides into his pit stall and doesn't get the car aimed back out, so they don't have enough room to change the lefts. The only question here would be is if he's flat spotted these left side tires. Probably a good decision by Brad Parrott not to try to change the tires because they couldn't get to him. Dave?
And Andy, they discussed that. They asked the tire specialist to look at the right front tire. Brad Parrott, crew chief, said it was only lightly flat spotted. We stay out.
That's a good decision because the left side tires usually won't slide quite as bad as the rights when they come in because of the weight difference.
Coming down for the restart, Shane Huffman in the 31 car did not pit, opted to stay on the racetrack and lead some laps, so he will lead Dale Earnhardt Jr. back to the green flag.
It only run 17 or 15 laps or so before the caution came out. Why not stay out and have a little fun?
Yeah, you might as well. Yeah, it's a one-time opportunity for Shane Huffman to get back in the car here. The opportunity's been given, so you know, these guys are probably looking at it that wasn't a lot of laps, and they might feel very comfortable with the setup that they have.
By the way, for you Stephen Wallace fans, the 66 car penalized for an outside half of the pit box violation. Didn't have the tires in control by a crew member. He had to restart at the end of the longest line, so at the back of the pack. Here comes Earnhardt Jr. and his teammate, his protege, Brad Keselowski, as they try to slide underneath the Shane Huffman car. And the irony is it was Shane Huffman that was driving this 88 last year. When they came to Daytona last February in 2007, he was replaced by Brad Keselowski by Dale Earnhardt Jr.
These restarts are the time that things really get jammed up. They've got good tires on the car. Everybody wants to do a little racing, make as much time as they possibly can. And this is the time that you really have to be careful because things could happen in a hurry.
Yeah, like, whoa, it gets a little tight right there. You see these guys like Shane Huffman, they're kind of seize up the field with no tires, and these guys got these huge runs and nowhere to take them. Like right here, whoa, right in the back bumper of the 64.
Wimmer right in the middle of that sandwich. Here comes David Rudiman to make it 3 wide on the inside. He pushes Wimmer by.
That's some good tight racing right there.
And that's a good feeling as a driver when you're that guy in front and somebody gives you that bump that you want to get you by that car. That's a great feeling. Felt like you just picked up about 40 horsepower.
Feels great on the straightaway, but it doesn't feel too great in the corner, I bet.
No, not at all. That's whenever you take one hand off the wheel when you get on the straightaway and be letting the guy behind you know that's not a good idea.
Back up front there, single file. It's the Chevys of Earnhardt and Keselowski. Then comes the Ford of Edwards. Then the Toyota, the 20 car of Denny Hamlin. And his teammate right behind him.
Yeah, no surprise to see these Toyotas making their way to the front.
This might be as strong a car as I've seen Carl Edwards have at these types of racetracks. I know he does a good job, but I don't know that we've ever seen him really up front and challenging, especially this early in a race.
Yeah, his car, he's looking for a place to take this run. He's got a strong horse here. Got that 20 car right up on his back bumper.
How about that? Over a third of the races here have been won by an Earnhardt, 12 of 33. In fact, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has won 5 times in the last 13 races he has run here at Daytona. Pretty good record. Jr. under attack, but he fends off the 60 car. Let's get more on Dale Earnhardt Jr. with Jamie.
Well, Doc, you mentioned Shane Huffman, and he was actually fired from this team in the 88 and Dale Earnhardt Jr. 1 year ago. So Dale Jr. got in the car and ran it himself here at Daytona. So today I asked Junior, so what do you think? How far has your team come this far? And he said, I couldn't be more happy with my team, but it's because of that man on the right-hand side of your screen, Rick Hendrick. Because of him, us bringing these teams together, we're able to win races for Junior Motorsports. And he, of course, wants nothing more than to make it happen for himself and Mr. H tonight.
We saw Denny Hamlin look below the yellow line, get in the corner, and then back off and not make the move. If he'd have made that move, it probably would have been a penalty, would it, Dale?
If it didn't cause a wreck, it would have been a penalty.
That would have been a huge penalty.
Yeah, but yeah, it definitely would. You have to race above this little yellow line. You've heard us say it before. This is the one place that we go besides Talladega that you have to stay above that yellow line. You cannot advance your position.
Let's take a look in. Now watch the 88. He's coming down there, and now Hamlin has nowhere to go, and he has to, back off a little bit because he will be penalized. I guess you could get that position back.
Yeah, that right there would have been an interesting call by NASCAR because on the other side of that coin, you can't force anybody below the yellow line to keep them from passing you. So they might have been apt to say, okay, 88, you're the one that's going to get penalized, as we see Carl Edwards going to the lead with a push from Clint Boyer. Shannon, you got some more on Carl Edwards?
Yeah, you guys were talking about just how good his car is. This car, I spoke with Drew Blickensurfer, his new crew chief. Drew Blickensurfer told me that this car is a clone of Matt Kenseth's car when they were here in February. So, of course, Drew Blickensurfer he's familiar with this type of car. He knows what to expect. Now, as far as the notes, Drew Blickensurfer did go to the notes of the 60Us from the July race. Carl Edwards happy with the car on that last stop, just said it was the tiniest bit tight.
This 60 car has had a breath of fresh air, just new life since Drew Blickensurfer came over here. I mean, it's just incredible how good they're running right now. I don't know if it's the team just got a different attitude or what.
Yeah, you know, and something else they got is Doug Yates horsepower under that hood. That doesn't hurt at all. I'll assure you that.
That'll change your attitude.
And you know, once Carl Edwards broke that 36-race winless streak at Milwaukee, DJ, it seemed like the whole aspect, I mean, maybe it was confidence, whatever, he's been a different person around the garage area.
Yeah, you just never know when you need to make that change. I know that Jack Roush was a little hesitant in making that, as we see Clint Boyer trying to go by on the outside here. But you just sometimes have to say, okay, enough is enough. We need to get some new blood in here, and let's see if we can make this work.
Clint Boyer trying to make his Chevy work on the high side and be able to go by and retake the lead. He wiggles a little bit there with Kevin Harvick behind him.
That leaves an opening for Kyle Busch down there.
Or on Clint Boyer with Shannon.
Yeah, when you speak to Clint Boyer's crew chief, he'll tell you that he's seen a maturity take place in Clint Boyer on these restrictor plate racing. In the number one place, he says that Clint is on the offensive more than the defensive, and you've seen him be that way so far this race. And guys, his spotter is telling him where Kevin Harvick in that 33 is, letting him know that help is coming.
Still holding second spot there is Hamlin, a Toyota, and the Harvick 33 car side by side for fourth position. They are side by side, fourth through about 11th spot. The front three are single file. There is Brian Vickers in the 32 car. A lot of people in the garage thought Vickers would be a factor tonight, and he may well be. Very strong Toyota back there in the pack. Back with more from Daytona in a moment. Welcome back to Daytona here early on. In fact, we are over a quarter of the way through this one. It is Ford, Chevrolet on the bottom, and then, of course, a couple of Toyotas teaming up top. Carl Edwards, the leader. Clint Boyer in second spot. The 29 of Scott Wimmer is third. And for more on Clint Boyer, let's go down to Shannon Spade.
Yeah, Doc, this is Clint Boyer's 8th start here at Daytona in the Nationwide Series. But, you know, you can always learn something new when you're at this track. This was radio we picked up from Clint Boyer talking to his crew chief about what he saw going on in the track.
I mean, we learned something there, Dale. I mean, it's probably good that that happened. Learn it for later. It's just dragging the brakes on me, getting in and free, dragging the brakes, and then he'd have a run before the finish line.
So Clint Boyer taking a look at the car in front of him, trying to learn something. Now for more, let's go to Tim Brewer, the Chevy Cutaway car.
Thanks, Shannon. What these guys are doing, we put so much emphasis on momentum. This right foot, folks, it's wide open on that gas pedal. What he's doing is actually reaching over with the left foot, dragging the brake pedal. And what that is, he's just slowing that thing down to where they don't get a good run on him. But there again, it can be used against him. But right now, Earnhardt, he's a pretty cagey guy. But these other guys pick up on those little tricks like that. It's like if you're the car behind and you've got a run on the guy, but it's not an opportune time to pass, you're just going to keep that gas wide open, touch that brake pedal, and I'm sure DJ knows all about these tactics.
Yeah, you're right, Jim. And what they're talking about is the car in front was dragging the brake a little bit. As we see, 24 car having some problems here. Looked like he might have a tire down.
Eric McClure slow. We are still stay green on the racetrack. He's trying to get back to pit road. We can show you what happened to the 24 as he slips in on the apron and somehow manages to keep the car from going up the racetrack and brings it down and controls it and slows it down.
They did a great job there, but it looks like you could possibly have a right rear tire going down the way that the car just came around off the corner.
You were talking about the fact you used the right foot on the throttle and occasionally the left foot on the brake pedal. What does that help you do here in the draft at Daytona?
Well, what he was doing is the guy out front will get on the brake just a little bit, and that'll make the guys in second, third, and fourth have to come out of the throttle some. So then he's seeing if that lets him get away. That's something he can really use at the end of the race to get away from those guys where they can't get a run, as we have caution on the track.
Caution's out here. Fluid.
Yeah, oil on the racetrack, we are being told, from the 24 car. That was a situation we saw him spinning a moment ago, or spinning or getting sideways and controlling his car, Eric McClure. Then we'll bring out caution for the second time tonight here on lap number 30.
Definitely got some fluid running out from underneath this car on the pit stall.
We'll take a break here, lap 31, as the 24 car on pit road. The leader is Carl Edwards. It is Edwards, Boyer, Earnhardt, Hamlin, and Vickers in the top 5 here after 30 of 100 laps. Welcome back to Daytona. Under caution for the second time tonight. Now, the question is, some of the guys who did not take tires on an original stop, including the 5 car, Earnhardt Jr., got to wonder what they're going to do.
Well, we saw in practice that some of the cars could only go about 40, 45 laps and have tire issues on the right side. So these guys that only took gas, I would be worried about the tires. I'm sure they're going to have to think about coming out down pit road this time now and getting 4 tires.
Yeah, I think so. The guys that took tires probably only going to get fuel right now. Let's see.
Well, let's go down to our Castrol GTX triple pits. First, here's Mike.
And before the last round of pit stops, Denny Hamlin complaining the car was just a tick tight, still a little bit snug, so they're going to make a tape adjustment to the front grille. Also a 4-tire change on the 20 car, but otherwise Denny Hamlin pretty happy. Dave?
Casey Kane took 2 tires on the first stop, so he'll take 4 this time. Sunoco fuel, but no changes to the car. He says it's pretty loose, but at least it's turning. Shannon?
Well, Dave, Carl Edwards says 4 tires is the way to go. That's what's getting him that track position. 4 tires for Carl Edwards is going to make a slight air pressure adjustment. Jamie?
DJ and Andy, you guys are exactly right. The 5 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. did not take tires the first time. He had trouble, couldn't keep it on the bottom. He took 4 tires, slight air pressure adjustment. He's down and away.
Brad Keselowski, some tire strategy on pit road, also where he was pitting, he gained 6 spots, and he will be the leader off of pit road. We'll come back with the green in just a moment.
The NASCAR Nationwide Series going to race under the lights at Chicagoland Speedway next Friday night. First time there for the lights. ESPN, our coverage, 7:30 Eastern time. That is 1 week from tonight. Fast mile and a half. Should be an interesting night. Look forward to bringing that one to you. Down in the ESPN pit studio, Ray Evernham, Brad Daugherty watching the race. What have you noticed so far?
Some interesting strategy. We're seeing guys pit maybe earlier than we thought. The cars are sliding around. We're seeing 2 tires, no tires, gas and go. So going to be a lot of strategy.
Yeah, we saw Brian Clausen with a fast race car early in the race. He only got 2 tires on that first stop. He immediately went back about 15 positions. It's very interesting. You got to have 4 tires to win this race.
Junior struggled when he didn't take tires on the first pit stop as well. So now we've shuffled the deck again with some more tire strategy. And Doc, we'll see what's going to happen in this run.
Exactly, Alan. Brad Keselowski changing only 2 right sides on the first stop, and on this stop took left side tires only.
And that'll work out pretty good for Brad, I think, unless we have a long green flag run, and he'll have the most laps on his right sides, particularly the right front, as we go on in past laps 60 and 65.
Well, I think it's a good time to try it if that's your strategy and you want to try it. I know if I were in that situation, I believe that I would be wanting 4 tires. I think we've known that Carl Edwards said, hey, we need 4 tires. He was the guy that was the fastest and out front a while ago. Handling is going to be the key. If we ever get more than 15 laps run here, I think these guys are going to be screaming, I've got to have more tires. 8 if you got them.
And the 5 car saved a set of tires there because he didn't take any of the first caution, just got gas, and there he just got his first set of tires. So he'll have an extra set at the end.
Tony Uri Sr., the veteran crew chief for the 88 car, probably thinks if you're going to miss the big one, the best place to be is out in front of it on the 88 car. And sometimes that's when the big one happens, after everyone's got tires on the restart and they start doing 2 and 3 wide. Here they come. We'll find out if the 88 tire strategy will indeed work for Brad Keselowski as he tries to hang on. Back with the green. Carl Edwards wasting little time. He and Clint Boyer as Keselowski pulls down in front of Edwards, and he will lead the bottom line.
We were talking about how good a car Carl Edwards had. That wasn't anything about car except getting up through the gears with a lot of motors right there.
That looked like a lot of power under the hood of that 60. And here we go. He's going to up. It's like Boyer gets a little run on him.
Remember, these two had contact in the final laps at Milwaukee, talking about the 2 and the 60, and Boyer inches right underneath him to take the spot away and take the lead once again.
Carl might have thought about that contact too when he started to pull down there the block, so not the time to do that.
Boyer in second position behind the 88. More on Clint Boyer with Shannon.
Yeah, Clint Boyer had a little bit of an incident down here on pit road during that last pit stop. He got clipped in the back by the 22 car when he was leaving his pit stall. Mike Dillon, his spotter up there looking on, looked at the car, reviewed it, told Clint that he does not see any problems with his number 2 car. And as you can see, Clint Boyer having a great run right now. Jamie.
Well, Shannon, the man stopping him right now is Brad Keselowski in front under that last caution. Brad Keselowski's spotter warned him, you cannot block. I just had to walk over and apologize to the 20 spotter because you were blocking him. So watch the 88 right now and see how he works with Clint Boyer as he tries to make the pass.
That was good advice because the 88 car did block the 20 on that one run getting into turn 3, and that can cause everybody problems.
Yeah, but it's also part of this racing too. I mean, you know, you're sometimes you're not blocking as much as you're moving over there to get that help and that push. You know, sometimes that's all that you're wanting to do. It's not that you don't want to catch up. You know, you're trying to get that push from behind. So it's not necessarily blocking as much as it is you're trying to use the draft to your advantage.
I think there's definitely a fine line there, but when the guy behind you has such a big run, if you pull in front of him when he's got a 5-10 mile an hour head start, it's going to be trouble.
What did David Pearson used to say? I'm not blocking him, I'm just getting in his way. Up front, 3 Chevrolets, then 3 Toyotas, and a couple of Fords. Brad Keselowski had never led a lap at Daytona until this race today, and he has led now by virtue of the 2-tire strategy. Remember, he only took 2 left side tires here in the latest stop. Veterans behind him, Clint Boyer in second, and his boss, Earnhardt Jr., back in third.
Another car that's looking pretty racy right here, this 47 car, Kelly Byers. He's in this lead group. He's making some pretty good moves to stay up there. He's learning how to do this drafting.
We've talked that you could tell from the last few races watching him at these type of racetracks that he's really shown that he's picking up on what the draft's about. And you can watch this Dale Jr. and you can find out what the draft is about too as he goes to the high side of the guy's car that he owns. But he doesn't have enough of a push, and here comes Brad Keselowski back on the inside with a push from Clint Boyer.
How much can you feel if you're Brad Keselowski when you get that push we talk about? Can you feel it in the car when you get like a 2 car behind you and be able to give you that wind shove?
Yeah, you don't even have to look down at the tachometer. You just get a sense of feel that, hey, I've picked something up here. And that's a great feeling whenever you get that. And because it's really hard to, you feel like most of the time you don't have any horsepower, just any little bit. I mean, 50 and 100 RPMs makes a big difference when you're sitting inside the car. Generally, you'll pick up a couple 100 RPMs when you get a good push just like that. And I think maybe Junior right there was just trying something for later on. He knows that he has a good car. He's just seeing what may work later on and who's going to work with him.
That outside move will work a lot better once these cars get some laps on the tires and they start slipping and sliding and having to get out of the throttle entering the corner. See a big run where Clint Boyer now going to take it to the top side. This may not work for him, like you said, right now because the tires are still good. The guys on the bottom can still hold it wide open.
Junior just tried that a moment ago and went from 2nd back to 7th. Let's see what Clint Boyer can hang there because he doesn't have much help in the draft. The guys down below do have it lined up. And he will lose 1 spot as the 18 goes by, and he's trying to wedge his way in between the 18 and the 60.
But as these cars get laps on the tires, that bottom groove, even though it's a shorter way around, it's a tighter corner, and you have to back off the gas sometimes. And then what that does is break your momentum. Then the outside lane will have the advantage.
How about David Rudeman all the way from 12th starting spot in his Toyota up to 2nd position, the 99 car. Rudeman there right behind Keselowski with the Kyle Busch car right behind him. More on Rudeman with Jamie.
Well, David Rudeman, I asked him earlier how they're going to do, and he's like, I don't know. This is Daytona. I just don't run well here. But this car, he has dialed it in. He took 2 tires on the first, or 4 tires on the first stop, 2 on the second. He said this car's taken a little while to come around to me, but it is good right now. No adjustments on that last stop, and it's showing up to 2nd.
Jerry Baxter made a lot of changes on that car. We heard Rudeman talking about how they really didn't know what they were going to have, but it looks like it's working pretty good.
9 laps away from halfway here on the 4th of July. A 4th of July Friday night in Daytona. It is a tradition for NASCAR stock car racing. Thus far, not much in the way of fireworks, just good racing. And this young man, 24-year-old Brad Keselowski, is the one showing the way.
Celebrating the 4th of July with the All-American sport of stock car racing, the NASCAR Nationwide Series coming up on halfway of tonight's 250-miler at the Daytona International Speedway. Brad Keselowski leads. David Rudeman in the 99 car was running 2nd. He's now 8th. Moment ago, turn 2.
We saw some bump drafting earlier in the race, but as you're going through the corner, as you heard DJ say, you don't want to be the recipient of a little tap. He gave David Rudeman a nice little tap, got him out of shape, and David went backwards.
No, NASCAR wasn't real fond of that, and have already warned him about bumping drafting in the corners.
So what did David Rudeman have to say about all that?
15 tried to wreck him off turn 2. Remember all that, Dave, when it gets down to the end, you're the man. Here by 1, back to 2. I didn't think bump drafting was allowed in the middle of the corner.
David Rudeman spotter and crew chief all conversing over that little exchange on the racetrack. Take a look at our Holiday Inn Express race summary as we come up on the midway point of this event. Been shuffling around that front spot a pretty good bit, though Brad Keselowski has held it since the last set of pit stops, which happened at lap 32. We've had 2 cautions in the race thus far tonight, and so far it's been for Daytona, both those cautions fairly innocent causes. Let's get you up to speed with Nationwide Insurance and try and take you back and forth through the field because you never know how they're going to be running any given lap. Jamie, how about the leader for now, Keselowski?
We'll follow them as they go, but yes, Brad Keselowski holding his own right now, took just left sides on that last stop. And you know, this is just the second time here at Daytona, and I asked him right before he got in the car what he learned. He said, I learned it's all about handling here. So they worked on the handling of the car, but he said, we gave some things up in order to get speed out of the car. That's what we're going for. That's what's going to win. Mike?
Jamie, it is all about handling, but it's also about drafting and being able to suck up on the cars in front of you. That was the dilemma that the 18 team faced back in February. They seem to have solved it. They've been able to move throughout the field at ease, it would seem. The big problem the 18 car is feeling, though, he says it's a little bit loose. They've made track bar adjustments on consecutive pit stops. Shannon?
Well, Carl Edwards says that the car is getting a little bit tight on him right now. This is his 3rd race with his new crew chief, Drew Blickensturfer. And you talk to Carl Edwards, he says one of the biggest changes he's seen has been on pit road. So I asked Drew Blickensturfer what he has done with the pit road guys. He basically shows up at pit road practice. He talks to these guys, tells them that they need to be consistent. He says it doesn't help if we have a 17-second pit stop and then come back down and have a 14-second pit stop. So consistency on pit road. Jamie.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. peeking away up there. He's moving forward in the 4th position right now. And you know, the Earnhardt name is synonymous with Daytona. In the Nationwide Series, the Earnhardt name has won 1/3 of the races. Dale Earnhardt Jr. 5, his dad 7. We asked him what makes him so good here.
I study it, and you know, the studying part's important, I think, because I just watched Dad and watched a lot of races and tried to understand why things were happening that didn't look like they should be happening, how cars got runs in certain areas of the track, and how they worked side by side differently.
And you asked Dale Earnhardt Jr., he said, I was born to be a plate racer. Tonight, trying to get the job done in the same car that Kyle Busch went to victory lane with here 1 year ago as he moves forward. Dave?
And behind them, Jamie, Brian Clausen is trying to study what Junior is teaching him. Junior passed him about 2 laps ago, and unfortunately, Clausen couldn't follow. He was stuck with Kelly Byers' 47 car, which you also see in the picture, and so he couldn't follow through. But they've gotten over that miscue on that first pit stop, and 4 tires on that last stop for Clausen. Jamie.
And Kelly Byers finding himself in a new spot running up front. His car was so tight, he said, there's no way we're going to be great. He said, I have to get to the top. Right now, he's on the inside. They made some adjustments to free that car up a bit, and it's working. He's going forward, Shannon.
Well, this is the first of 2 races that Brian Vickers will be in this 32 car. The car was loose on the last few pit stops. They made some changes. Now the car is getting tight on Brian Vickers. Now Vickers comes in. He says, we are not running 4 points. We want to come out here and win, and that's what he's hoping to get here tonight for this Toyota team. Dave.
Shannon, Casey Kane is in the mix in that group right there in that red, white, number 9 car. Wiggled a little bit going into the turn. They took 2 tires on their first stop. They went backwards. This time they took 4 tires, and he moved up from his restart position. He's gaining spots. The 6 car behind them of David Reagan on that last stop, David was just a little bit snug. The car wouldn't turn the way he wanted it to. They made an air pressure adjustment for him, and look at that run. He gets going on the outside. He passes the 32 and the 47.
Well, Clint Boyer's currently 182 points ahead of the rest of the field in the championship points, but he says that's not enough. He needs to make more ground on the rest of the field. He said, I have 1 bad race, they have a good race, and we could be out of this. So Clint Boyer looking for a strong race here tonight. Mike.
Well, Shannon, the 20 team has been adamant. In order to keep their edge and their dominance here in 2008, they have to keep improving. This week, they made a significant addition to the team, a brand new rear tire changer, Chuck Efaw, who's the former rear tire changer from the now defunct Sprint Cup Series team from Ganassi. They've improved here in the Gibbs camp. Alan?
So halfway through the race, there are 37 of the 43 starters still on the lead lap. Who's your possible winners? Who knows? It's Daytona. We're coming back in just a minute. Happy 4th of July from Daytona International Speedway in Florida.
welcome you back to Daytona International Speedway here on a 4th of July Friday night. Aerial coverage provided by our good friends at Goodyear. For track-tested technology, get there on Goodyear Innovation. It's still the 88 car up front. Brad Keselowski, then Kyle Busch, Brian Clausen, the pole sitter, the 19-year-old Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Carl Edwards back in 5th position. And just a moment ago, Carl Edwards had a near miss. Take a look at this.
Yeah, that was bad. I got there and tried to turn left and just hit the front tires. I was glad we didn't wreck him.
That's got to get your attention, DJ, as a driver pulling it right in down behind the 19-year-old, the youngster.
Yeah, and Brian Clausen's glad he didn't wreck him too. So that could have been big, but someone with Carl Edwards' experience was able to get out of that without anything big happening. Brian Clausen's doing a terrific job. We see him falling back a little here. He had worked his way up to 3rd, but now we see Dale Jr. up on the outside. Dave, you got more on Brian Clausen?
Yeah, DJ, and he let Junior and some of the other cars kind of go when they were moving by him, not just that Carl Edwards incident. And just moments ago, Brad Parrott, his crew chief, informed him, buddy, this is where you make friends. Don't try to block them. Don't try to keep them from passing you right now. Let them know that you can be their buddy later on if you've got a faster race car.
Andy, wise advice from a veteran crew chief for a young driver, and that's what he's doing. He's getting out of the way when he has to. It looks like he gets up in the draft when there's room for him to get in.
He's got a great race car. That was good advice Brad gave him, because you can't do anything with this car if you don't have it at the end. And that's a good thing to do, is just try to make some friends with these guys. Don't make any mistakes. Don't bang it up. And he'll be there. This car's there. He's running a great race tonight.
And here again, remember that Brian Clausen is only in his 18th career start. Got his first pole tonight, and DJ, he is learning from some of the best here, going to school on the draft.
Well, the best thing he can do is get laps out there and make laps and learn where he can get himself, the positions he can get in without creating a problem for himself or someone else, and exactly what's going to make his car pick up, where his car is working the best. And right now it really looks like he can go to the bottom of the racetrack. I saw him come up to 3rd a while ago by using the top side of the racetrack, Andy.
Yeah, but he's still able to hold the thing wide open down on the bottom. You see these guys go to the top, try to challenge him, but his car is stuck to the bottom still, even after this many laps on the tire.
And remember that 2-tire stop for the 88 car of Keselowski, holding the front now. It's working thus far. It came in last time for just 2 left side tires, able to hold the lead.
Yeah, that's been very impressive to me. I didn't know exactly how that was going to work, especially putting on left side tires. They've shown right here that could be a strategy we might see that team use for the rest of the night. Jamie, you have more on Brad Keselowski?
Yeah, Tony Uri Sr., the crew chief for Brad Keselowski, came on the radio just a moment ago and said, great job, you're driving like a veteran out there. And then he warned him that that 40 car may have a run for him. As you guys were talking about, Clausen was on the move, but now Dale Earnhardt Jr., Brad Keselowski's boss and teammate, is on the move on the high side, trying to get up there to get that 18 out of his way.
The one interesting thing about the 88 cars, they said, you heard Brad Keselowski say, that they brought a car for speed, not handling. It looks to me like his car's handling, actually out-handling a lot of these guys in this group.
It's definitely got plenty of speed, so they did the right thing there. And I don't know, folks, as you watch this young man here, you can see he does a terrific job on the racetrack. He knows what he's doing. All year long, we've talked a lot about him and how good and how improved he is, how much he's matured over the year. I hope you got to see the pre-race show. He was in our pit studio, and I was very impressed. He took questions that we were firing at him one after another and had great answers and didn't hesitate about anything. So this is a star in the making right here.
Brad Keselowski got his very first career win at Nashville, Tennessee in his 49th start. He's one of 2 first-time winners in the season and the series this year, along with Joey Logano. Got his first pole a couple of races later at Milwaukee, and now for the first time in his career leading at Daytona.
He's definitely going to be a championship contender. Like he said in the pre-race show, he just needs a little bit of luck on his side to close the gap on Boyer, and he's going to be one of the guys to beat. If you look at the way they're running right now, he's 2nd in points if it would happen to end right here, but we know it's not. There's a lot of racing to go here left.
Here are the RWI cars, Rusty Wallace Incorporated cars. That is David Stremme in the 64, Stephen Wallace in the 66. That's Kerry Earnhardt, by the way, back in the 8 car, the DEI car. Kerry, the oldest of the Dale Earnhardt senior children. Jamie.
And it's the first time we've seen Kerry in a car in the Nationwide Series in a year. The last time he was here was last July. But I was really surprised to know that this is the first time he's in a family-owned car, DEI, in a NASCAR event in that number 8. And he told me, yeah, I'm employed by DEI. I'm a company looking at my racing routes, and I'm thinking I want to get back in at full time. So Kerry Earnhardt making a hard charge right now, but looking to get back into racing full time, guys.
Exactly, and Kerry at 38 years of age, a scramble up front here, lead change. Kyle Busch going by the 88. Here comes his teammate Denny Hamlin, and the 5 of Earnhardt Jr. All 3 of them go by. Brad Keselowski.
This could be the point of the run where not taking right side tires on the 88 car could be hurting him, because these cars are starting to slide around a lot, and we've got a lot of laps on. He's got a lot of laps on these tires right now.
Yeah, this is the time that may be, and he did the right thing. These guys got a run on him. He settled back. He's in 4th right there. There's nothing wrong with that. Still have a little less than 40 laps to go. So he knows that he's going to have to get back into the pits sometime and get tires back on it. He knows he has a good race car. No reason to push the issue.
You can see him getting completely out of the throttle, getting in the corner there.
Yeah, his right side tires have been on since lap 15, so obviously it's starting to take its toll now. Jamie.
And right as DJ and Andy said that about Brad Keselowski and those tires starting to fall off, you're exactly right. Brad said, I am sliding around all over. Next time I need 4 tires, please.
Well, past the halfway point here at Daytona, and it's all about friends, family, fireworks, and fast cars when you come to Daytona International Speedway on this holiday weekend. Early on the action at 22, Josh Wise spinning. Fans on their feet enjoying.
For the IndyCar Series, the long stretch of the ovals is over. It's now time for the road courses, and it means our annual trip over the 4th of July holiday weekend to Watkins Glen. And who has the power and the wherewithal to beat the 3-time defending winner, Scott Dixon? He's going to try and make it 4 in a row, and you'll see it Sunday, 3:30 Eastern on ABC.
4 different winners, the last 4 events here in IRL action. Of course, Tony Kanaan won last week at Richmond, and Scott Dixon won the race last year at Watkins Glen. We'll see who can carry that momentum here forward Sunday afternoon, 3:30 Eastern time, the Camping World IndyCar Grand Prix at the Glen. Of course, tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern time, NASCAR Now on ESPN2. Got to be some concern up front, guys, with the 88 car with regard to those right side tires that have been on for 15 laps. He's starting to fade now. Here's the battle up front. It is Hamlin, Earnhardt, and Kyle Busch, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin and Dale Jr. are just rim riding this place. They're just right against the wall on both ends. Kyle Busch keeps trying to make a shorter racetrack out of it and try to get himself up there and maybe pass one of them or both of them, but he just can't make it work yet.
It's just becoming one of those parts of the race where these guys are having to get out of the throttle a lot. It's almost like a non-restrictor plate race where they're getting in the corner, backing off, and trying to get runs off the corner. You see that right there. The 18 car tried to just get a little bit of run off the corner, but not enough momentum. These guys carrying it from the top side.
Sort of what happened here in February, sort of deja vu. In February, it was the 20 car, the 18 car, and the 5 car in that order when they finished 1st, 2nd, 3rd. And that day it was Tony Stewart, Kyle Busch, and then Dale Earnhardt Jr. It is Denny Hamlin in the 20 here tonight instead of Tony Stewart.
The goal right here is to hold that throttle down all the way around the racetrack. Riding with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and he's using that high line so he can use as much throttle as possible without backing off. And then he goes to the bottom. He's holding her wide open.
I think he finally decided that maybe he was having to get out of the throttle to follow the 20, and the 18's been running down there, so he took a little bit of a push from him to get himself into the lead.
And he retakes the lead for the 3rd time here tonight. Dale Earnhardt Jr. now has led 3 times for 12 laps. A little more on Denny Hamlin from Mike.
And Doc, really no surprise to see the 20 car running as well as he is, but believe it or not, as dominant as they were here in February, they made some changes to this car. They went to the wind tunnel and they found some additional downforce. They were expecting it to actually be better than it was in February, but still a little bit tight for Denny Hamlin.
Hamlin back in 3rd position, right behind his teammate Kyle Busch. A lot of lobbying this week among the Chevy teams and team owners about trying to get from the SP2 to the R07 engine. Andy, what is it all about?
Well, the Toyota guys have the most up-to-date, the latest engine that they have. The Cup Series runs the same package as far as the hard parts. The Chevy teams are running the SP2 engine, which is a generation older than what the Cup guys are running. The R07 is the latest stuff. And they just want the same tools. They just want the latest stuff that Chevrolet has so they can compete with these Toyotas.
And DJ, in raw numbers, we're told that they believe that the Toyotas are 10 to 15 horsepower better than them, but if they had the R07, that would level the playing field.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're looking for. And so they're doing the right thing. They're lobbying to NASCAR that, hey, we need this help if we're going to compete with these guys. And, you know, NASCAR always takes a good long look at things to see if exactly what it is that needs to be done. You never see them really make a knee-jerk reaction to these guys that teams start complaining a little bit. They want to make sure that there is something there that they need to, they verify it, and then they look to make that change. They also look at the cost of it for the teams as far as switching over. What's it going to do to the expense of this, because we already know they spend a lot of money.
Well, the engine Dale Earnhardt Jr. has under the hood right now running awfully well here as he is leading with 30 laps to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr., a two-time series champion in the NASCAR Nationwide Series and a 5-time winner here at Daytona. Wow, what a great career he's had here at Daytona International Speedway. Look at the laps he has led and continues to lead. Back in a moment. Welcome back to Daytona. They've been mixing it up front. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was leading when we went to commercial a moment ago, and a lap later, the 18 car pulled off what an Earnhardt Jr. maneuver to go by, and now, just a moment ago, the 20 car has gone by the 18, and he is pulling the 5 with him. Denny Hamlin, the leader, and they are door-to-door for second spot. Kyle Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Now, these guys are just a few laps away from making green flag pit stops, so they're just having some fun up front. They don't have a lot of pressure from behind. They're trying some different things. We saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. use that move, that late arc, get into turn 3 to pass the guys for the lead. Looks like he taught Kyle Busch a little bit of that, so he tried it back on him and it worked. So they're just all just playing with their lines to see what they can get an advantage on each other.
Pit stops will be coming up momentarily. We were told that Jason Leffler just penalized for improper fueling, which normally means they don't have a catch can engaged. Let's go down to the 7 pits and Jamie Little.
And Mike Wallace in his pit box right now. The first to come down for green flags, as you guys said, it looks like we're going to have everybody down here for green flag stops. Right sides, they move around to the left side of Mike Wallace. He took 4 tires on that first stop as well, so he's going to be a little off sequence. Mike Wallace always running well here. He's down and away in 17 flat. Doc?
You know, right at the back of our picture there, you see somebody else that's joined the fray here. Clint Boyer, our points leader, has come from a long ways back. He was outside the top 10 just a little bit ago, so this tells me that his car is handling extremely well as these tires get really old.
Yeah, it's a sign of a car that's easy on tires if that thing can come to the front right at the end of these green flag runs. And you see that most of these guys, if not all of them, will get 4 tires under the green flag stops because it takes about 15 seconds to get 18 gallons of fuel.
Pit stops becoming the order of the day. As they come out of turn 4, 25 laps to go, clicks away. Remember, if you're fans of Brad Keselowski, he has held his own back there in 7th position despite the fact that he didn't take right side tires on that lap 33 pit stop.
Well, he'll be a happy camper to get 4 tires on that thing.
Brian Vickers on pit road, headed down to you. Shannon?
Yeah, Brian Vickers saying the car is just tight. They're going to take 4 tires. They're also going to make a chassis adjustment. Trent Owen says working with Brian Vickers back in February at this race, he really learned a lot about what Brian needed at a restrictor plate race. And these guys are looking for a solid run here tonight.
Let's go down to the 8th pit for Kerry Earnhardt, where Mark Hollywood Armstrong is the front tire changer.
Left side. And we're down and away. Go, baby, go, go.
Mark Armstrong, a 14-year tire-changing veteran, wearing the camera and microphone, trying to get Kerry Earnhardt on and off pit road. Here comes Brad Keselowski. Finally, he's going to come down, and what did you say a moment ago? He's going to be so thankful to get 4 fresh Goodyears.
He hasn't had that all night. That's the thing, because they've just been 2.
Earnhardt pit with Jamie Little.
And the 5 and the 88 on the same strategy. Dale Jr. said the car is pretty good. That's all he said. It's been 2 years since he's won in the Nationwide Series. They're going to take 4 tires for him. And you see in front of him, the 88, Brad Keselowski dying to get those 4 tires. He's finally going to get them. The car otherwise is pretty good, but they're going to try to run the high side together. Let's see if they can rally to the front. Dale Jr. down and away before the 88, taking just a little longer. He's down and away, guys.
Dale Jr. beat him by a couple of seconds off of pit road, and that's a big margin getting back on the racetrack. Here's the 18 car of Kyle Busch. Clint Boyer is in. Carl Edwards in. Let's go down to the 18 pits and Mike.
And just moments ago, Kyle Busch radioed his team saying, I think I've got the best handling race car on the racetrack right now. My biggest issue is down the straightaway. Just doesn't have the horsepower he's looking for. They're going to make a slight air pressure adjustment, 4 tires, and also an adjustment to the tape on the front grille. Shannon?
Well, your points leader, Clint Boyer, saying that the car is tight on this run. Those guys are going to make air pressure adjustment on that car, take 4 tires. Now, Carl Edwards, who's also on pit road right now, saying that the car needs more grip. We haven't seen Carl Edwards just yet. We're still looking at the 2 car there, guys. But Carl Edwards is on pit road, says the car needs a little more grip.
Here is Denny Hamlin slowing down. He will head on the pit road to the attention of Dave Rogers and the crew. This car has won 8 times with 4 different drivers here in 2008. He comes down with 22 laps to go as our leader. Mike.
And Doc, let's not forget they're undefeated so far on restrictor plate tracks in 2008. They're trying to keep that string alive. The car a little bit too tight for Denny. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment on the right front tire and also a tape adjustment to the front grille. Dave?
Just slight adjustment for Casey Kane. Pretty happy with the balance of the race car. They'll take 4 tires. That was a discussion. Driver wanted 4. Crew chief suggested 2. They went with 4. Casey is gone.
4 fresh tires for Casey Kane. He was the last driver to win in a Dodge in this series, and that came last August in 2007. Dodge is yet to win here in 2008. Here's Mike Bliss slowing down. 38 car of Jason Leffler comes back. David Reagan also there behind the 1 car in the 6. $55 miles an hour headed down toward you, Dave.
And Mike Bliss will pit this time. I believe they're going to take 4 tires for Bliss right now. His car has been mostly loose at the start of the runs. That's been his biggest problem. They are going to go with 2 instead. They make that game time call. David Reagan pits right behind him. They're going to take 4 tires on that car. There you see him go to the left side. And the car is still just a little bit tight. Needs to turn better for Reagan. They'll make an adjustment for that.
15.5 seconds for David Reagan, a Roush Fenway team, in a transmission issue. We're told something going on here with the 32 car of Vickers.
That's one thing about this racetrack, is you run such high gearing in the rear end that it's hard to get off pit road sometimes without breaking parts. Yeah, you see right there, they dropped the jack and he tried to take off, and something in the transmission or maybe even in the rear end, something in the drivetrain just let go.
Tough break for Brian Vickers, who finished 4th here back in February. Thought he had a good top 5 car, at least a top 10 car here tonight. Headed back to the garage area. Back up front. Inside of 20 laps to go. It'll be 19 to go this time by. Carl Edwards has not won here at Daytona in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and he is showing the way here. 19 behind him, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 2nd spot. Kyle Busch and Clint Boyer. By the way, the 28 car by Kenny Wallace being penalized for a missing lug nut on this latest round of pit stops. Here's Kyle Busch going for 2nd spot.
They got fresh tires, and looks like, just a few laps to go. These guys are going to be able to hold it wide open all the way to the end. It's going to be a drafting chess match to the end.
Yeah, these 4 cars have broken away from the rest of the field. Denny Hamlin's in 5th place, a little over 2 seconds behind. And Denny Hamlin stayed out there a few laps after all of these guys came in. He lost his drafting help, so his time slowed down drastically there. So I think that was a mistake on their part to stay out there that long.
Kyle Busch is all over the back of the 60 car, moving high, moving low, started to make a move and thought better of it, now fell back in line, and now he gets a shove from behind by the 5 car of Earnhardt Jr. Let's listen in to Kyle Busch's radio.
Brakes suck. All they do is lock up when you get at them. Brake speed fixed too. Write that down. Why was the 20 waving? When you wave, you come. I don't get it. 10-4. Curtis didn't know what he was doing either.
Well, now we might might see exactly that maybe they were supposed to pit together, and I think that's what Kyle Busch thought they were going to do. He came out on the good end of it by pitting at that point in time. He was talking about his brakes having some problems there. You could see him as he came into the pits a little bit earlier. The brakes were locked up when he was about 4 or 5 pits away. So I don't think that's going to be an issue here, because he's probably not going to touch that brake pedal for a while now.
You don't have to worry about that. But it looked like these guys were going to pit together, and it really hurt the 20 car by staying out that couple extra laps.
Yeah, the 20 car, the big loser there. He is about a second back in the 5th position. Dale Earnhardt Jr. going way up across the racetrack in what we call the Earnhardt Jr. line. Clint Boyer will follow him up there, where they are chasing Carl Edwards. 17 laps to go here at Daytona. Welcome back to Daytona. We've had our 15th different lead change, and Kyle Busch at the front of the field. It is Busch, Edwards, Earnhardt Jr., Hamlin, and Boyer in that order. 14 laps to go here at Daytona.
Look at the ground this 20 car is made up in just a few laps right here. He made up over 2 seconds on this group. I know that drafting's a big part of it, but he's got a great car right here.
Denny Hamlin digging on the bottom with a little help from Clint Boyer. Let's go down and visit where Shannon is caught up with Brian Vickers.
Yeah, Brian Vickers back here in the garage, certainly not where you wanted to be this point in the race. Just tell us what happened there.
Yeah, we don't really know for certain. I don't think it's a human error. I think it's just a parts failure somewhere in the drivetrain. Something broke. We let it leave the box in first gear, wrapped it up, dropped the clutch, and it just snapped. And I could hear the drive shaft rattling around, so I knew we had an issue. And that's unfortunate. You know, the DG car is really good all night. We tried scuffs that last run and made the car too tight. We were going to put stickers on right there, freed up a little bit. I think we were going to be in really good shape for the end, but unfortunately not going to be able to show it.
All right, well, Brian Vickers has one more chance in this 32 car. He will be in that car next week in Chicago with this team.
Thanks, Shannon. Wow, what a scramble up front as Carl Edwards has got to be driving a little bit with the windshield and a lot with that rearview mirror.
Yeah, he's got a rearview mirror full of Denny Hamlin right now in the 20 cars. These cars are going everywhere. But let's get Denny Hamlin, as you said, Andy, came from a little over 2 seconds back, but he had a good partner. Right at the end of the screen there is Mike Bliss, who took 2 tires, got himself in a great position, but he helped Denny Hamlin catch this grip.
That was a great strategy move by the 1 car, and we got a great shootout right here. There's no telling who's going to win this thing, because cars are everywhere. How about that 1 car, Dave?
And Andy, he was about 8 car lengths behind this group when they got that green flag pit stop, and his team told him, those are the 5 cars going for the win in front of you. Go get him. And the 2-tire stop put him in position for that, and the car is still fast.
Mike Bliss has a Hendrick engine on board. He's got really good horsepower, same engine that Dale Earnhardt Jr. has under the hood of his car. That's why he is so stout here as we close in on 10 laps to go.
All you look for at this point is to try to have your car in the lead group, right up in the top 10, and you've got a shot at this thing, because these guys can get crazy when it gets down to the end of the race.
Denny Hamlin able to make the pass by Edwards.
Well, they've all got good engines, but that 20 car's got engine, driver, and team going with it. This is unbelievable.
This 18 isn't very shabby either, coming here on the bottom of the racetrack, just digging right by the bottom part of Edwards and takes the spot away.
I know we've talked a lot about Joe Gibbs Racing dominance in this, but this is just another example. These guys get it done week in and week out.
Talked about Toyota has won 12 of the 18 races here in 2008, including both events run on restrictor plate racetracks here in February with the 20 car, and then again the 20 car at Talladega in the spring.
The bad news is we got both of these guys, these teammates, running nose to tail. They can start working together, and they have the strongest cars, it looks like, at this point.
Let's check in on the 88 car with Jamie.
Well, Doc, Brad Keselowski went from leading the race to now he slipped back into the 11th spot. So Dale Earnhardt Jr. not getting the help he wished for. But on that last pit stop, we noted it took an extra amount of time for the 88. They had their problems on the front of that car. And I think the team just lost their momentum just a bit. That set him back a tiny bit. But they also made an air pressure adjustment. And Brad says that car is just not turning like it was earlier in the race.
DJ, it looked like the 88 car you commented a moment ago might have been a little close to the wall over there. They sort of had trouble getting to the left side of the car with the jack, and it might have cost them a little more time on pit road.
Yeah, it looked like when he slid in his pits or went to his pits, he slid just a little bit, and it got just a little bit close to the wall, and it created the problem between the front tire changer and the jack man being able to do their jobs. That cost him time, and now they've fallen back out of the lead draft. So he's in a pack battling for 7th on back, but just not the same as being up there in that lead group.
Couple of Toyotas, a Ford, and a couple of Chevrolets. That's a top 5. Denny Hamlin showing the way. Mike?
Well, it was obviously a big win for the Gibbs Racing team here back in February. So big, in fact, Doc, take a look at this. This is the ring that Joe Gibbs gave the 20 team for winning here in Daytona. After all, this is almost like the Super Bowl of racing. Well, if the 18 team were able to come home with a victory today, I'm sure they'd be lobbying the coach for a beautiful ring like this because, you know, obviously they're pretty envious, and they finished runner-up here back in February.
And that's emblematic of the kind of person Joe Gibbs and J.D. Gibbs, that whole organization is. They are first class all the way. When their people respond, they want to be able to pay them back.
Exactly. These guys work extremely hard on these cars. As we see Dale Jr. making a move on Carl Edwards, trying to get himself in a position to be able to go up and challenge those Toyotas. But Joe Gibbs and that organization, they know what rewarding these people that work extremely hard, how that makes them work even harder and getting the most out of them. I said it in the pre-race show, Joe Gibbs is a people person. He knows how to get the most out of those people, rewarding them in other ways besides just money, giving them things that they can remember their success by.
These guys back here, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Carl Edwards, Clint Boyer, they need to get in line and try to move on these guys, or they're going to lose touch with these top 2 cars.
I'm not sure they haven't lost touch right now. I know that 3 of them get together there, they can get back there, but these 2 cars in front, they're just so strong. And
whoa, look at Carl Edwards. Wow, driving that car off turn 2.
Somehow held on and came down right in front of the 2 car of Clint Boyer.
That's a couple of close calls we've seen from Carl Edwards tonight.
Yeah, I don't think Clint Boyer had intention of letting him in there. He just didn't have any choice except it was either that or wreck.
We are on a record pace here at Daytona. The all-time race record set back in 1985 at 157 miles an hour. And right now we are averaging over 162.5 miles per hour. There have been only 2 cautions tonight for a total of 6 laps.
Okay, is Kyle Busch going to be content to push this 20 car to the line, Dale?
Well, he doesn't have any help is his biggest problem. I don't think that sitting there in second, I'm not sure that you can just go up there and make a move by yourself. I would expect him maybe, I don't know, depending on how bad he wants to win, do you want to keep, you know, is he going to be a teammate now or is he going to look to win the race? He might drop back there just a little bit to get Dale Jr. up to his bumper. That's his chance at winning if he can get a car on his bumper.
Kyle Busch led the most laps in that car here in February, but he was a teammate for Tony Stewart when he needed to be in the final laps and help push Tony across, as it was Stewart and Kyle Busch 1-2 in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr. However, Jr. was closer back then. If he's not a factor, how much of a teammate do you want to be?
You see this 60 car and the 5 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. They were working this air a while ago trying to get by this 2 car. And you see that 5 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. When he pulls up behind this 60, they go into this draft lock. You see these cars when they get, the closer you get together, the less resistance you've got on the air. And these guys just motored right by Clint Boyer.
Yeah, pulled him right to the back bumper of the 60 car, even to the point of nudging him a little bit to get that bump draft and get by him.
Okay, we got 5 laps to go. Now, Junior's got to get something going right here because he's got 2 tough guys in front of him.
He's reeling them in. It was 5 car lengths, 4 car lengths, and now it's probably, well, it's back to 4 car lengths here at the stripe, but he's getting closer and closer. The question is, catching them is one thing, passing them is something else.
Yeah, no, again, he doesn't have anybody behind him helping. All he can do is affect which one of these Gibbs cars right now is probably going to win this race. And I think that Kyle Busch has probably been dropping back a little, seeing if he can get a run by himself on his teammate Denny Hamlin in front there. And I'm pretty sure he knows by now he can't do that. Dale Jr.'s caught up to him, and this is the best thing for Kyle Busch. If he's going to have a chance to win this race, his help is on his bumper right now.
Without a caution, we've got 4 laps to go. This is a 3-car race. You see these guys just trying to get in position. This 18 car running the top. He leaves the bottom open for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
All the way to the top of the track. The 5 car will take the bottom spot away, but then he slides, the 20 slides right back in front of his teammate, the 18. If you're Denny Hamlin, do you want to shake the 18 cars and you thinking you got enough to handle the 5?
Yeah, I want to stay in front. Yeah, if I can get away from that 18, I think that's his biggest threat.
These lap cars are going to play in the picture right here. They're using the air off of these lap cars. You see Junior, he gets down on the bottom of the racetrack and he almost has to get out of the throttle.
Yeah, and it turned out to be the wrong place for him because Kyle Busch had to run on the outside and Junior lost the 2nd spot there.
Kyle Busch looking to the high side. Denny Hamlin will take the move up there. It'll be 2 laps to go this time by. It is Kenny Wallace. He is the lap car on the bottom of the race. And look at Denny Hamlin pull that car all the way down to the yellow line.
That really paid off right through that corner. It may have paid off. It might be a disadvantage to get this much lead with just 2 laps to go, Dale.
Yeah, I would say normally it would be, but there again, he's going to have somebody on his bumper to get him there to really make that push. We saw when Dale Jr. came up there the last time that Kyle Busch went to the high side. Dale Jr. opted to go to the bottom side. It'll be interesting to see if they decide to work together here.
2 laps to go. It'll be the white flag this time by.
All deals off here with 2 laps to go. Oh, got his trouble off turn 2.
Colin Brown in the 16 car noses into the wall, and the concrete slides down the back straightaway. That will bring out caution.
Nice and easy.
That's going to change everything. That's going to make this thing very interesting.
Yeah, now it's not about 3 cars.
I don't know what happened.
We've got about 11, 12, 14 cars that could be a part of this now.
That will bring out a green-white checkered situation.
I don't know what happened.
Colin Brown in the 16 car making his first start at Daytona in the Roush Fenway entry. Ran here back in February in the truck. Let's see what happened to him. Coming off the corner just sideways.
Looks like he just lost it by himself. Nobody really around him. Right in front of Carl Edwards, Clint Boyer, Mike Bliss. All these guys doing a great job to miss this.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll be losing the nose coming off of turn 2, and you go to turn the wheel just a little bit to make sure that you don't hit the wall, and the back end just flies out from under you. Then he overcorrected. He'd have been a lot better off. Obviously, it's easy to say now, but if he just did what they tell you in the rookie meetings, and that's to turn left and lock it down.
Again here in the corner. Young driver coming off the corner, and DJ, exactly what you said.
Yeah, you could just see the car was continuing out towards the wall. He probably put a little bit more wheel into it, and as soon as you do that, then the back end gets away from you. He's not the first person to do it. We've all been there.
Damage on the front of his car. Doing a heck of a job here after the impressive young man for qualifying so well in the top 5 tonight.
I think he's going to need some help getting back to the pits.
While he stops and gets some help from Wreckers, why don't we visit down in the 20 pits as Mike is caught up with Dave Rogers.
And Doc, it certainly looked like this one was going to be settled between the 2 Joe Gibbs Racing cars, but now it looks like there's a lot of other competitors out there, Dave Rogers. What's the plan?
The plan is for Denny Hamlin to get a nice clean restart, go through the gearbox smoothly, and hope we put this Hardee's, Coca-Cola, Toyota Camry in victory lane.
How much of a conversation have you had with your teammate Kyle Busch about strategy here in these closing laps?
We were planning on pitting together, and we just miscommunicated on the racetrack. You know, heat of the moment, I was mad, obviously, but then when I figured out what happened, it was racing. We planned on coming on the lap that we came on, but I guess Denny did something to maybe wave Kyle off, or Kyle thought Denny waved him off. Just miscommunication, nothing intentional, not a big deal. We'll get over it.
Still, Doc, that's in the past. What they need to be concerned about right now is how well they work together on this restart.
Mike, should be very interesting. Setting up to be quite a shootout here. 7th green-white checkered finish of the year. And in none of the previous 6 has the leader, when he took the green, lost it to the checkered flag. We'll find out when we come back in a moment.
Little overtime at Daytona. The NASCAR Nationwide Series under caution as the race reaches its scheduled conclusion. So one attempt at a green-white checker 2-lap sprint to the finish. Coming up, 7th time that has happened this year. You see some of the other races in which the overtime has occurred. Ray, Brad, been watching this great scramble up front. Who you like?
Born at night, but not last night. I'm going with Kyle Busch, baby. If he's in the race, I'm going with him.
And I said it early tonight, I'm going with Junior.
It's going to be interesting to see. Denny Hamlin came from a long way back, and that 20 car has certainly been strong this year. Speaking of Dale Jr. and that 5 car, there's a very interested observer in his pit. Jamie?
Yes, Mr. H. Rick Hendrick, the co-owner of the number 5. So, Rick, you're watching this all shake down. Does Junior have enough to get his first win for his team and yours combined?
Well, I'd like to think we did, but we do. But we need that 15 to 20 horsepower. If those 2 Chevys had our UR07s, I think it'd be a pretty interesting finish. But we're going to do the best we can. He's driven a heck of a race all night. We'll see.
Car's a little loose, can't keep it down low, but we're going to see a heck of a shootout here for the 5 car. Dave?
This has been the discussion over the radio, Jamie, with the 18 bunch during this caution.
I think we left our feelings at the house right here. As long as we do it clean, we need to win this race, you know, so we'll do whatever we got to do.
So Jason Ratcliffe has asked for a clean but a whatever we have to do to win kind of race. How does that happen here at Daytona?
I don't know. I mean, probably ain't going to happen. But, I mean, Kyle's going to be as cautious as he can. I mean, this 18 team deserves a win. Kyle Busch deserves a win. He's driven the wheels off that thing tonight. Really good car. Just need a little more speed by itself. It gets to the front. Just can't seem to. Either that or we just don't have any friends, but we'll see right here. It's gonna. I think the five car's the one holding all the cards right now. Kyle's just gonna have to decide if the 5 gives him enough. He'll try it. If the 5 doesn't give him enough, then we'll try to repeat what we did here in February.
Friends and teammates at the end of this thing, Doc, and feelings? I don't know. Nowhere to be found, I don't think.
Jason Ratcliffe thinks the 5 car is in the best position. Dale Jarrett, Andy Petrie, what do you guys? Who's in the best spot in your opinion?
Well, I think what's going to happen here is Kyle Busch is going to think that the 5 is going to go with him. I think Junior's going to let the 18 decide where he's going to go. He's going the opposite direction, and the 2 is going to push him. He might have a chance here, but it's going to be tough for him. Past that 20 car.
I can't bet against the 20. He's won too many races this year. I just cannot bet against him. He's got the lead.
One attempt at a green-white checker July 4th in Daytona. It's all about fireworks and fast cars. Here come the fast cars, and folks, the fireworks are going to follow. Green flag, final time at Daytona. Can Denny Hamlin hang on? There's his teammate, Kyle Busch. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has got some help from a Chevy right behind him.
Whoa, it's some contact.
All the way down across the racetrack. Carl Edwards down there as they try to go around Mike Bliss. Meanwhile, here comes Earnhardt Jr. trying to reel in, pedaling hard to get to the back of the 18 car.
Denny Hamlin got a huge jump on the start right there. Shannon, what happened with the 60 car?
Yeah, NASCAR officials were down here talking to Drew Blickensturfer, told the 60 team that they had to restart behind the 2 car. NASCAR officials told the 60 team that Clint Boyer had passed him. So on that last restart, Carl Edwards was put behind the number 2 car, guys. And can vary a lot of confusion down here because the 60 team does not think that Clint Boyer passed him. They did not think that they needed to restart behind him.
White flag.
Final lap here at Daytona. What a scramble up front. Denny Hamlin trying to hold on. It is a pair of Toyotas and a pair of Chevrolets. Earnhardt Jr. finished 3rd to those 2 Toyotas here in February. Did he learn something? Can he use his experience? He's a 5-time winner. What can he do down the backstretch here in the final lap?
This is the last shot they have, and it looks like the 20 car's got the advantage.
Yeah, the only thing a Junior can do here is help the 18 try to pass the 20. Junior's not going to get to the front. And I don't think that they're going to get by the 20 car. Look at this. You called it, Randy.
It looked like Kyle Busch just got just enough run on the 20, but had to get out of the throttle because the front end took off.
Yeah, and actually he pushed him by.
Out of turn 4, final lap on a Friday night, July 4th in Daytona. The 20 car goes to victory lane once again. Denny Hamlin takes the win as the car spins out of turn 4 into the grass area. That is Mike Wallace and his Toyota, our in-race reporter, and he has had some significant contact with the wall. Good news is window net is down, and Mike's moving around inside the car, getting ready to pull the helmet off. But congratulations go to Denny Hamlin, and how about win number 9 for crew chief Dave Rogers?
Thank you.
Let's go down to Mike.
And the dominant season continues for the 20 team. Celebrations going on here in the 20 camp. And Dave Rogers, how would you describe the way this season has unfolded for you guys?
This is the greatest blessing in the world. I don't know what we've done to deserve it, but we'll take it. We know that we can't take credit for it. We're being looked on from the man upstairs, so we're just happy.
You, perhaps better than anybody, knew how strong that 18 car was. What were your thoughts on that restart?
I was actually thinking we're both going home in a flatbed, but Kyle races really clean. He could have made that really interesting, and he was a great teammate at the end, stuck to our bumper, so hats off to Kyle. Good gentleman racer.
Well, Doc, you got to wonder, how many wins can this 20 team rack up in 2008?
What a great performance by that team there in the 20 car. Dave Rogers as Denny Hamlin doing the donuts here in front of the crowd at Daytona, getting his very first win in the NASCAR Nationwide Series car here. Fireworks going on in the backstretch over Lake Lloyd. Let's show you what happened with the fireworks on the final turn of the final lap.
All these guys jockeying for positions. Looks like he got a little tap from behind.
And there's the contact, hard contact. Fortunately, it was the soft wall, safe for Barry, but still heavy damage on the front of Mike Wallace's Toyota. 9 wins for the 20 car in 2008, 5 with Tony Stewart, 2 with Denny Hamlin, 1 with Kyle Busch, and 1 Joey Logano. How good is this Joe Gibbs racing team? Our coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Daytona has been brought to you by Carfax and by Planters, instinctively good. Well, there's the official fireworks display beginning off of the backstretch overlooking Lake Lloyd. And let's go down to the garage area where Shannon Spake is caught up with our second place finisher, Kyle Busch.
That's right, 1-2 finish for Joe Gibbs Racing. Kyle, I read earlier this week that you said it didn't matter who won as long as it was a Joe Gibbs Racing car. How bad did you want this win, though?
Well, I mean, we wanted to win any win badly, but, you know, congratulations to the 20 team. Obviously, that's 3 straight for that car. The car's awfully strong, awfully hard to beat every week anyway, but that restrictor plate car is strong, too. So, yeah, I got to say thanks to Farm Bureau, Toyota, NOS Energy Drink, and Mac Tools. I was pretty comfortable tonight. Guys gave me a great Butler-built seat, and so, you know, all's well, I guess, finishing second. First Farm Bureau finish of the year, so that's always nice to have as well, instead of tearing up a perfectly good race car there at Kentucky.
All right, second place finish for Kyle Busch. 3rd straight top 2 finish here at Daytona. Dave.
And right behind him, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Shannon. He's been breaking it down with his teammate, Brad Keselowski. Now he's breaking it down with Keselowski's crew chief, Pops Urey. And overall, position 3 is not where you wanted to end up. You got more to talk about here. Is this all business about the team tonight?
Well, we got a couple. Brad had trouble on his pit stops, and Tony's going to work on that a little bit when we get back home. But so those guys better be ready on Monday. And we just got to do a little bit different. I think the Toyotas and did a little bit better work on their bodies, and they handled a little bit better on the old tire. And looking at their fenders and stuff, I see where we might need to look at going in more downforce area instead of just making a bullet, you know, a real slick car. But our cars are slick and loose around there, and I had a really, really good car. The car should have won the race, but I got to hand it to the Gibbs bodies. They did a good job on those, making things handle pretty good.
I mean, they had 2 that beat you this time.
Yeah, that's why they qualified so poorly, because of drag. But the drag on the body, you know, hurts your car qualifying. But it comes in handy when you're on them old tires, and they did a good job. And congratulations to Tony, and we got to thank my team and Delphi and the National Guard, Rick, and my co-owner. All the team did a good job. Really proud of everybody at General Motorsports, my uncles Robert and Jimmy, and everybody back home.
All right, thanks, Junior. Let's go to victory lane. Mike Massaro's caught up with the winning Toyota driver.
And Denny Hamlin has just wiped the sweat from his brow and is receiving the customary Coca-Cola bath here in victory lane. A winner yet again. And the 20 car remains undefeated in restrictor plate racing. How good was this car tonight?
Man, I tell you, it was just, it was amazing. And to do this with the Coca-Cola Hardee's Toyota today, it just means a lot. My final ride in the 20 car, you know, these guys, a lot of them were here in the inception when I got signed to this car, and it feels good to do this when in my last ride. But got to thank all the fans. Just thank everyone for you know, sticking with me. Got to thank Kyle sticking with me right there at the end. The only way we weren't going to win is if he actually went for the win. So. Just thank everyone. Dave Rogers did another great job. The pit stops were great all day. Just can't thank everyone from Toyota, Hardee's, Old Spice, everyone who sponsors this 20 car throughout the year, Z-Line. It means a lot.
And you certainly knew how strong that 18 car was. Considering that, what were your thoughts as you sat in that car under caution right before that final restart, knowing you had to hold him off?
I knew he was. I mean, Kyle's got a lot of fire, and he wants to win races no matter what. And we had two very strong Toyotas today, and I knew he could go for the win, and maybe not succeed. But as long as he stuck on our rear bumper, there was no way we weren't going to have a 1-2 finish.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Another solid run for Denny Hamlin. Believe it or not, he's finished no worse than second in each of his last 5 nationwide starts. Jamie?
Team is pretty unbelievable, but one team that's a little frustrated right now, Carl Edwards, kind of a weird finish there. What happened, Carl? I saw you running the NASCAR hauler.
Well, it's not weird. It's just a mistake on NASCAR's part, and hopefully they'll apologize for it. But I was supposed to be in front of Clint on this restart that we're watching, and it was nice enough. I went down here to block Bliss, and he was nice enough to get out of it and not wreck me. So that was great. We've wrecked a lot of the Save-A-Lot cars, but just very frustrated that with all the technology we have, just because I went out in the grass to avoid the wreck earlier. I mean, I was always at least 50 or 100 feet in front of Clint. They couldn't figure out that I was supposed to be in front of him, and they put us back. Just very, very frustrated about that. If you'd have got me about 2 minutes ago, it would have been a much more enjoyable interview, but I'm calming down a little bit. Just too bad.
Well, you salvaged an 11th place finish, but you were running up toward the front pretty much the entire night. What does that say about you guys, Carl? You guys still feel like you're plugging away, getting better each week?
Oh yeah, it's good. Man, that was a blast racing with with all those guys, with Kyle and Denny and Clint, Dale. Everybody was really doing a good job, and the cars were moving around a lot. It was real racing out there, which was a lot of fun. It's just too bad when something like that happens, and it takes you back, and messes up your race when it's just a scoring error. So hopefully they'll figure out what's going on so this doesn't happen to these teams anymore. They don't deserve it. My guys worked really hard tonight.
All right, Carl Edwards finished 11th, and he continues that third place run in the points right now.
Denny Hamlin, continues the domination, and the 20 car is unbeaten in restrictor plate races. Daytona, Talladega, now back at Daytona, the first two with Tony Stewart, and now Denny Hamlin gets his first win at Daytona in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. The NASCAR Nationwide Series race at Daytona is history, and we will update all the action in NASCAR tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time with NASCAR Now on ESPN2. If you like some open wheel action, how about ABC coverage Sunday 3:30 Eastern Time, the Camping World IndyCar Grand Prix at historic Watkins Glen Road Course. Tony Kanaan won last week at Richmond. Can he continue that momentum up at Watkins Glen tomorrow or Sunday at 3:30 Eastern Time? Great run for Brad Keselowski, and Dave is standing by with him.
Yeah, the top 5 run was good, but I just told him he moved back to second in points, and what'd you say?
Yeah, all right.
Good job. Tell us about that run tonight, working out there with all those fast cars at the front.
Had a lot of fun, learned a lot today. Made some mistakes there at the start and learned from them, and was able to rebound there at the end and get a good fifth place finish. And that's what we need to do at the U.S. Navy Chevrolet to be in the points race. We need to keep plugging away those top 5s and top 10s. And it's a shame we had a car that maybe could have won the race today, and just had some struggles on pit road there on that last stop. And once we got that green-white checkered, we were able to catch up and take advantage of how good our car was and get up to 5th. So proud of everyone on my team, and good to get out of here with the top 5.
Junior mentioned that your guys are going to have to be working hard come this week in pit stop practice, but was that the only thing missing tonight?
We were a little bit off on handling, but we're trying so hard to keep up with the 20 and 18 that we sacrificed a little bit of handling to keep up with them down straightaways, and you just can't do that to win here. You need to be able to have the best of both worlds, and we're doing all we can do to keep up with them there, but that's just all we had tonight.
Good run tonight for Brad Keselowski. Shannon?
Well, 8th consecutive top 10 for your points leader, Clint Boyer, but here's another number for you, 202. That is your points lead, and it's the largest of the season. How does that sound?
It sounds good, but it's not enough. It's way too close for comfort. Still a lot of racing left. Long season. Just really proud of Dan and all the guys. Brought a good car. We had a good night. I mean, it's frustrating right now. I mean, we're leading the points, but we don't even have a chance of winning the races right now. And not taking anything away from the talent over there and the effort that those guys put in, those the 20 car and stuff, but. Monkey could win in that car. I mean, it just doesn't, it's not even testing their talents right now.
All right, Clint Boyer, another top 10 for this championship team right now.
19 races in, and the points, as you said, 202-point lead, largest of the year for Clint Boyer. And Brad Keselowski moves back in the second spot. The big loser today, the 99 car, even though he had a pretty good finish, David Ruderman in 14th spot, moves back to 4th position. And, of course, take a look at the top 10. Jason Keller hanging on in 10th spot, a team that began the year just hoping to have sponsorship to run the whole year, doing a great job here in 10th position. Well, one of the incidents that happened tonight on the final lap, there was a lot of discussion about what actually happened with the 7 car. Let's show you. There's the contact. 7 car coming out of turn 4. There's the contact. It is Mike Wallace and his nephew Stephen Wallace as they come together. Guys, watch this replay, and who should have moved, who should have zigged, and who should have zagged here?
Well, it looks like Stephen Wallace just slides right up into Mike and just got into his left rear corner and spun him around.
Yeah, Mike Wallace didn't have much anywhere he could give any more room. He was right up against the wall. So these things are going to happen. They're racing hard on the last lap, but when it's family, it makes it even more interesting.
They were battling for 13th position, and Mike took a very hard lick against the inside wall, and the front of his Toyota damaged. And Mike, pretty hot when he climbed out of the car and was headed back up pit road, was intercepted by a NASCAR official. And now he's with Jamie Little.
Well, it's certainly the most frustrated I've seen Mike Wallace finishing 22nd tonight. Mike, we saw the replay. You watched it. What happened from the driver's seat?
Well, it appears the black and white car behind me just run into me off of turn 4. You know, I was up on the outside, had fresh tires. There was about 5 of us that come and get tires. And, you know, the nice part about having an in-car camera in a car pretty well tells the story. There's no use me wasting my time and explaining it. Everybody's seen it at home. And it's real frustrating. Last lap coming into checkered, clearly going to, you know, end up with a decent finish. Going to run 11th or 12th, it looked like, right behind the 60 car there. And, you know, to get crashed in the straightaway is just not really good. But, you know, I'm going to use the Marcus Ambrose thing. I'm just going to smile. It's all okay, but it's not okay, and it's really frustrating. But, you know, Geico Toyota Camry, we struggled in the early stages of the race. And, you know, Bruce Cook called for 4 tires, and we were coming. You know, we were going to have a great finish. And, I don't know. I was told the front end was pushed on his car. You know, lift if it's pushing. Drive your car, you know. So just frustrating, really is, you know. But all in all, a good night. You know, we lost Bob Germain Sr. early in the week, so I guess I reckon it's not that bad. And thanks to the Germain brothers and everybody. And sorry, guys, we're going to have a top 10, but it didn't happen.
Well, you noted it was Stephen Wallace, your nephew. How is that different when it's family? How do you deal with a situation like that from here on out?
Jamie, it's probably just best I don't say anything. I've done express myself to Stephen back in the back, and we'll leave it like that. And you know, this is probably not the best place to air our differences right now. He knows what happened. You know, anybody that was watching seen what happened, and we'll just leave it at that. There's nothing going to change what's going. We'll go on next week to Chicago and hopefully win a race there.
Well, the good news is Mike Wallace continues 8th place in the points right now. Doc?
Thank you, Jamie. And guys, what do you do? I know you've been in that situation as a driver and as a crew chief and car owner, whether it's family or not, when you have a situation like that where you have contact on the final lap and it takes you away from a good finish, how do you handle it?
You just move on. You just go to the next race and just forget it. There's nothing you can do. He's got a torn up race car. He'll probably sit down with Steven, though, and have a little talk with him later when cooler heads prevail.
Yeah, I'd have to say whether it's family or not. That's what you want to do. Whether, you know, it doesn't have to be tonight. Sometime next week, they can just sit down and talk and say, look, this might be a little better time or a little better thing to do next time you put yourself in that situation. So it's a learning experience for Stephen Wallace, and it's unfortunate that it was his uncle that was the recipient of that. But they'll move forward with this.
Final thoughts on the race tonight. Once again, that 20 car, those Toyotas for Joe Gibbs Racing, very, very tough to beat.
What got me is that 20 car was 2 seconds behind with less than 10 laps to go. He made it all up, and then he got up there and nobody could touch him.
Yeah, just incredible. Once again, it shows their domination. I don't know that I agree with Clint Boyer that a monkey could drive that thing. I don't think we're going to find that out. They've got some very talented race drivers in there. I know that they have things going really, really well, but still, Denny Hamlin was back there. He had to pass 4 really good race cars to get that done, and he went up and did that and got himself in front and then held those guys off.
And now the 20 car remains unbeaten here at Daytona in 2008. They won in February with Tony Stewart and with Denny Hamlin tonight. On a 4th of July, Friday night in Daytona, it was all about fast cars and fireworks. That's the fast car, and here's the fireworks.
For the IndyCar
Series, the long stretch of the ovals is over. It's now time for the road courses, and it means our annual trip over the 4th of July holiday weekend to Watkins Glen. And who has the power and the wherewithal to beat the 3-time defending winner, Scott Dixon? He's going to try and make it 4 in a row, and you'll see it Sunday, 3:30 Eastern on ABC.
The NASCAR Nationwide Series from Daytona International Speedway. Beautiful sight at night, all lit up, isn't it? Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. For track-tested technology, get there on Goodyear Innovation. Let's take a look at how the night unfolded tonight here at the World Center of Racing. Brian Clausen in the Ganassi 40 on the pole led the field to the green flag. But it would be a variety of drivers shuffling that top spot back and forth in the early laps. Here's first caution, Josh Wise.
Josh Wise gets a little bit of help from David Ruderman and gets turned around. No harm, no foul. Was able to get the car back to pit road successfully.
Little mistake on the pit stop.
Yeah, a little bit too close to the inside wall there. Brad Parrott makes a good call. Jackman couldn't get in, changed left side. Brad waved him off.
Going to talk to Brian Clausen in a minute. Little half spin here for Eric McClure. Lucky this wasn't worse.
Yeah, it looks like Eric broke an oil line, got oil on his tires, just lost control of the car, and like I said, he was able to get the car to the pit road as well.
That was the second caution of the race. Race for second place here off turn 2. Got a little ooh for David Ruderman.
Bump drafting in the corner is not a good place to do that. And Kyle got a warning from NASCAR for doing that.
We move ahead to lap 51. Close call here. The previously mentioned Brian Clausen almost gets hit from behind by Carl Edwards.
Carl Edwards had a good run, came down, pulled down behind Brian Clausen, almost got into him, but being the veteran that Carl is, helped him out in that situation.
Long green flag run in the middle of the race led to green flag pit stops. That didn't go so well for Brian Vickers when he tried to leave. Parts and pieces that are supposed to all be connected together weren't anymore.
Looks like it actually snapped the pinion gear right off the rear end, which will happen here at Daytona when you drop that jack.
Race came down to the final laps, this last set of pit stops rather, with Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin, the Gibbs teammates, miscommunicating. Busch stopping 1 lap before Hamlin came in. That left the 20 car 2 seconds behind on the racetrack. Thought that might have been trouble for him. He made it up, he took the lead, and then coming to the white flag, Colin Brown spun off turn number 2 in the Roush 16. This is going to leave a mark.
Colin Brown just lost the car, as we heard DJ explain earlier, come off the corner, was driving the car, and the rear end stepped out just a little bit, overcorrected, and that ended his night.
Set up the final restart, and I thought some things that happened here on this restart might have been key to how the race turned out.
You're exactly right, Alan. The 60 car got put behind the 2. They go to take off there. The one and the 60 get together. It breaks up the pack. It stops those guys, Junior and the 2, from getting momentum run on the 2 Toyotas.
And coming to the checkered flag behind the leaders off the final corner, the Wallace family meeting. Stephen in the 66, Mike in the 7. Mike certainly got the worst of that. You heard from Mike a minute ago. We did attempt to talk to Stephen. He has left the building. And all that going on behind Denny Hamlin, who held off his teammate Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr. to score the win at Daytona for Denny Hamlin. His 8th career win and his 2nd of the 2008 season. How about win number 9 for that 20 car this year? Talk about Brian Clausen being on the pole. He had a little bit of an adventurous night, wound up finishing 19th, Shannon.
Yeah, that's right. From those highlights, it was a very busy night for Brian Clausen. Just your 2nd start here at Daytona. What did you learn tonight that can help you in the future?
A lot, how important hitting your shifts are on that last restart. I feel really bad. We had our Fastenal Dodge was really strong tonight, and I felt like we had a top 5 car. Couldn't really run with the 20, the 18, and the 5 there. We were just a little too free up off the corner, but you know, missed a shift there on the last restart and threw away a pretty good finish. So I feel really bad for my guys. Really proud of them with everything that they've gone through this week, and to come back and bring the car we did here was pretty awesome. So I feel bad I threw it away, but really proud of how we ran tonight.
Yeah, 19th place finish for Brian Clausen. But Alan, he got his first pole here at Daytona.
Will be a memorable night for the rest of his career, that's for sure, for Brian Clausen. So I want to go back and talk about that last restart again. Dale Earnhardt Jr. coming to that restart was lined up in 3rd spot behind the 2 Gibbs cars. Hamlin in the 20, Kyle Busch in the 18. Let's talk about tactics here.
He was rolling back to the 2 car so that he could get a good shove, but he needed 3 or 4 cars to do that. The 60 pull down here, we'll watch where 60 pulls down the block, the 1, gets tangled up, creates a big gap. Casey Kane goes high, and it's only 2 cars left to chase the 2 Toyotas down.
I'll tell you what, but I was impressed at how Denny Hamlin pulled like a freight train on that restart. I mean, he got like a 10-15 car length lead. It would have been interesting, though, to see if Carl hadn't got tangled up with the one car of Mike Bliss, just to see what had happened with Junior up in front if he could have pushed him up there.
Favorite thing to do, bench race right afterwards.
Oh,
what if? It would have been interesting to see if that whole pack had been together.
Do you think with like 20 to go, though, Dave Rogers just said, hey, Denny, okay, use the rest of the throttle? It kind of looked like that.
I'm telling you, that's what it looked like to me. That thing took off like a rocket, man.
I'll tell you, it's think about things we talked about leading into the race, the domination of the Joe Gibbs Racing team so far this year. Would it be a fight between Junior and the 18 and the 20, the Gibbs cars, how handling would come into play? We saw all of that play out tonight, and in the end, those Gibbs Toyotas won out.
Yeah, and Junior is great at this racetrack. We all know that. We thought he would be the equalizer to the Toyotas, but in the end, Toyotas win.
And Junior was up top, but proud again of Brad Keselowski and Pops Urey. Ran a good race, snuck in quietly, another top 5, back to second in points.
Absolutely.
And tomorrow night, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series to run 400 miles here at Daytona. Paul Menard and Mark Martin on the front row. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in row 3. Should be a great race there as well. And we look forward to our next race, which is next Friday night. Chicagoland Speedway going to be lit up under the lights, Brad.
Oh, man, absolutely. Those Chicago hot dogs. I can't wait, baby.
7:30 Eastern Time on ESPN next Friday as the chase for the NASCAR Nationwide Series Championship continues. Ray, enjoyed having you here tonight.
And thanks, always a pleasure. Alan, Brad didn't hit me too hard tonight.
And we'll see you Monday for the NASCAR Now Roundtable, right?
I'll be there.
That is coming up on Monday night. So, a very interesting evening here. Some rallies, some interesting incidences on the racetrack, but in the end, Denny Hamlin wound up in victory lane. Coming up next, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Shifting Gears, presented by National Guard. And our coverage tonight presented start to finish on the 4th of July, a red, white, and blue All-American Stock Car Racing Night here in Daytona Beach. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.